to change my sound, so it stops playing out loud.
That would be good.
No one wants to hear fucking Megan Anderson.
What's up, everyone? We are back. We're back with another fight companion you didn't ask for. Welcome.
Too many sounds. Yeah. I had to kill Megan Anderson's voice in my ear. That was painful.
Yeah, that was so cringe that she forgot that one chick's name tonight.
It wasn't the first time either.
I know. Like, give it up for ... And then she just said the girl's last name.
Like, they started the show by being like, and so is undefeated.
Yeah.
And then they had to go on Twitter and be like, in the Invicta cage.
It was pretty cringe for sure.
But that's definitely the last show for them. Maybe one more.
I don't know how you could say that.
Oh,
that's a stretch. Even one more for them is a stretch.
And I'm someone who, like, I when they were on Fight Pass, I didn't miss a single show. When they first moved to YouTube, kept following it. They blocked me on Twitter for a little bit because I got pissed off, and I thought it was pretty shitty that they brought in like Kayla Harrison and put her in the main event right away.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like that. I mean, Shannon Knapp came and she's like, no, you're a legit fan. I know, and she had got the team to unblock me, but I was like, no, like, there's more to that story too in the DMs, but I'm not going to share because it was like between me and Shannon. But yeah, it was definitely one of those situations where it was like I was a diehard Invicta fan, and that show was not it.
No, for sure. Well, anyway, we are back, LFA 170. So if you guys are watching this later on, welcome. Me and my other friend, I have more than one friend, not just Zach. I know it's hard to believe. My other friend and I, Dylan Nostman is his name. We did a breakdown for LFA 170. So hopefully we did okay on our picks. So we'll see. We shall see. But I did check out the lines for this one. I went on Bovada real quick just to kind of see where some of the lines were. And some of these lines are pretty crazy. So how I would pick these fights, maybe not necessarily how I would bet them. Just because I think there are some really interesting odds. So, anyhow. Did you check out the odds for this before?
I have not done anything for this card.
Oh.
No, I know a couple people on the card. In the main event, Harris trains with Basil Hafiz. There's another guy on the card who trains with Josh. I saw him posting it up earlier today. That's about where my research went. I was like, oh, you train with so-and-so.
Got it.
And then I just then played Spider-Man 2 the rest of the day.
One of the guys on here, he's from Kyrgyzstan. His name's Miktab Oralby. I don't know. Oralby. He minus 2,300. So
good matchup.
That's pretty telling. So we'll see. But yeah, some of the lines are kind of crazy. But if you're willing to go with some dogs, there are certainly some picks in here that are probably worth thinking about. So, but in any event, I'll just tell you guys how I picked the fight, and then I'll give you the odds when we get there. And then you guys can decide what it is you want to do. If there's anyone with any action on the line for any of these.
And a quick question for you: that minus 2,300 guy, is he good, or is the matchup just that fucking terrible?
Well, both actually.
Okay. I mean, you can book someone who's like, against the right person.
He's 10-1-1.
Okay.
So I mean, he seems pretty legit, and Dylan Nostman, like, he's like a huge advocate of that guy, like pretty adamant that he'll be moving on up to the next level. So I definitely got those vibes for sure.
Nice. So it's not like a 6-5 fighter fighting a 1-5 fighter.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
This guy's probably going to end up moving on up. So Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But there's some interesting ones for sure. Just kind of before we get too far into, I won't go like too far in depth, but the main event, Harris Talundzic against Daniel Frunza, that one's pretty interesting. Harris Talundzic, this is his first fight back in almost a year. So that's somewhat notable. And despite the layoff, he is the minus 225 favorite. One thing I would share that we figured out in our research is this is actually his first fight against an orthodox fighter in quite some time. I want to say his last 2 or 3 opponents in a row have all been southpaws. So that might be something to keep in mind as we get ready to go into this fight. It's been a while since he's faced an orthodox fighter in the cage. So we'll see if that makes an impact or not.
That'd be interesting. I know, like I said, I know my insight on that fight was just based on like who he trains with. And
yeah.
I know they didn't seem from like, I didn't reach out and talk to anyone directly, but I also want to know why I'm like strobing out on my side. But it seemed like everyone was kind of like, yeah, I'm really confused. I think it's probably this setting. Probably this setting. It looks like that setting. We'll try that setting. And they all seem to be kind of happy. Like I said, I didn't reach out directly, but they were Basil does like a millions.co stream for UFC. And like he really hyped it up. He's out there tonight. He came in yesterday. Okay. And by come in, I mean he drove from Denver to Vail. He doesn't really live that far away.
Got it.
But and they also they train at Elevation Fight Team, and I think pound for pound.
Yep, so, a lot of people do those two.
But,
it'd be interesting. So, like, when it comes to like LFA contenders, like obviously completely different weight class, but Michael Stack, I'd love to see that guy fight again. It's been a minute since he's been training. Or fighting, I should say. It's been like almost a year, and he challenged for the featherweight title like a year ago, and he hasn't fought since. So I'd like to see him go back, and he trains at those 2 facilities that you just mentioned.
It's like everyone does. You either train there or like the other, or I guess Onyx. Yeah, and then even then, it's probably still a combination because you figure like Gaethje is at Onyx, but he's also at Elevation, and then he's at anyone else that opens the door for him. Because I know that was the other one too. Was Basil was playing around with the BMF title last time too.
John Davis is in the chat. I noticed. So John Davis, our faithful friend, what's on your mind? Love to know.
He's been more ready than I was.
Apparently so.
Yeah, he was actually making a point about how Invicta was timing their shit terribly for me tonight. I was hoping to see McCormick at least hopefully finish the fight before 10 o'clock, but thankfully the talking head segment of LFA is going to probably extend. I don't think she's going to get to finish ahead of the time of the first fight, but
I'd love to know what goes on with that fight, because obviously I'm not watching it because I have this one up. But I'd love to know what goes down. So if you guys are just joining the stream, or as more and more people start showing up, couple reminders, especially if you've never watched a Fight Companion before, Zach and I are not allowed to rebroadcast any of the fights. So if you are wanting to watch the fight, this is just what you need to have on in the background. You're going to need to watch the fight on UFC Fight Pass. That seems somewhat Captain Obvious, but some guy got really butthurt at us last time we did a live stream because apparently he was new to the whole Fight Companion thing. So at this point, it's on you. If you don't know that by now, that's on you because it's in the description for the video too. So no bitching.
Yeah, and I mean, and good point for even now too. I'm gonna add it to our little like filler ticker real fast too.
Yeah,
you can actually get 3 months of Fight Pass for the price of 1 right now as well.
Yeah, so there you go.
Not gonna do the whole like promotional thing because I can get paid for it.
Yeah, but
there
you
if
go.
you do code DUAL DUAL, you'll get 3 months. I don't know if they patched it yet, but if you pay monthly, you can do it also and take advantage of them for not knowing how to do e-commerce correctly.
There you go. So what? $10 for 3 months. So stop your bitching.
Get ready for fight number 1.
Yeah, so this is a fight that, frankly, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about other than just a quick peep at the odds. This fight was not supposed to be on the main card, but one of the female fights on the undercard fell out. Zach, you were telling me that there's a pretty bad weight miss earlier, and that means this fight gets elevated to the main card.
Yeah, they worded it as like 9+ pounds that she missed by. Like she missed like Nelson Negrani style, where you came in an entire weight class ahead and then got mad that the fight got canceled.
So does A1, John. So does A1. The A1 ring girls, they got things going on too, I must say.
Do you know Danielle Kelly used to be a ring girl?
Really?
I don't know if you know Danielle Kelly. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
She just shared that like a day or two ago. And yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Marnik Mann's a ring girl in Montana.
She should stay there.
So rude. But then again, she did get 10-8'd at like every round. I mean,
it was short notice though. She wasn't ready.
Yeah, okay.
She also wasn't ready on Contender Series either.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, look at his ear. Started. His ear just looks like freaking a fucking wonton or something.
We don't have this banner ready. Am I
John,
okay.
Real quick, UFC. What were your thoughts about the pay-per-view last week, bro? I'd love to get some comments from people about what they thought about the prior UFC bout, or what was it? 294? Is that what it was?
Yep. I was a fan of the guy who'd had 3 dick punches, 2 cage grabs, and the lonely glove grab too. That was fun.
We were just talking about UFC 294, John. Yeah, the last event. If there were any general thoughts that you had about that card, because there's a lot of different storylines there. How so? The refereeing, the people fighting with open staph infections and contaminating the cage and putting everyone at risk. There's a lot we can go off of there. Officiating, okay. Yeah.
Did you guys see that they didn't re-sign DMX? Michael Breeden?
No.
Yeah. So I know you're not really on Twitter. So that was this last fight of the contract. He came in obviously overweight. He came in with like staph infection. He came in to lose to Jubilee and then barked at him. And I guess brought back flashbacks of like a dog attack as a kid and then knocked him out. And
he's still not re-signed?
Yeah, I guess he thought that was enough to get re-signed, which I mean, normally it is.
They're probably pissed off. They're probably pissed off that
you can't really come in and be like, I have staph infection and like all this other stuff. And yeah, it didn't go too well. And I guess he's also not managed by like Jason House or anyone.
Yeah, he was treading on thin ice anyway. So if you guys are just now joining us, the very first fight, we don't have a card for it. Sorry about that, but this fight was not supposed to be on the main card. Daniel Gonzalez will be fighting Jordan Burkholder. A quick look at the odds. Burkholder, according to, I want to say it was BetAG, or no, I'm sorry, it was Bovada, minus 650 favorite. So there's probably not a whole lot. This is a dogger pass situation, unless you can parlay or know how this fight's going to end, because I don't know enough about either of these guys to tell you what's realistic or not. Gonzalez plus 400.
That makes
By
sense,
the
just
way.
because based on like record.
4-1, 1 knockout, 2 submissions for Burkholder. Dude, that ear just looks like a freaking. That looks nasty. Both of them do. Jesus. This guy looks like he isn't sure if he wants to be there or not. That's a good sign.
Usually goes well. LFA fights when you don't want to be there.
2-1. All right, Daniel Gonzalez, time to put on a show.
All right, so he's from.
I've never even heard of him. I've heard of Burkholder before. I've never heard of his opponent, though.
So,
Dude, look at that ear. I can't get over
Gonzalez
that. Ugh.
Gonzalez is a local kid. That's why he's on the card. He's from like Westminster. He trains over at 303 Training.
Okay, so he's a Denver kid. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. All right, so they're getting ready to fight, and we touch gloves, and LFA 170, we're kicking it off.
And this was not like a late opponent either, so I guess this was booked from the beginning. It's not one of the fights that fell off. Another fight that did fall off, though, was Alessandria Rosales now, formerly Brown. She had to go under surgery, so she had to pull off this card. I think that's when we first planned this one. I was super psyched because I'm a big Alessandria fan, and I think when started doing.
Sorry, does her husband fight?
Yeah,
he does. Okay. Oh, nice, nice takedown away from the cage too, right in his side control.
Yeah, they're both out of the same gym. Also appears the Invicta fight is over, and they're all hugging Danny McCormick. So I'm going to assume she won.
Wow. Well, good thing my picks are only on Tapology, not for money. I don't think I did so hot. I didn't take McCormick. I took the other chick.
Yeah, the other chick is the only person to win a fight last season of Contender Series and not get signed.
Yeah, odd. What's up, Pat? I am drinking alcohol, dude. I have some. Well, I don't know if I can like show it. Will they get angry? I don't know. I'm drinking some Stella Artois though. I don't drink. When I drink beer, I have to like drink very light beer because too much of it like fucks with my nose. I got a tall boy.
Like shit! She put her to sleep too.
What are you drinking, Pat?
Pat's not drinking. He's not 21 yet.
So, like I said, Pat, what are you drinking?
That would be illegal.
He could be in Canada right now.
So, Pat, on your trip to Canada, cheers. This shit's weird too. I found it in the fridge. I don't know where it came from. It's a pumpkin spice apple cider.
Fireball and rum chata. Spicy night. Fireball. Okay, I know what that is. I don't know what the rum chata is, though. I'm not a very well-versed guy. Yeah, definitely Canada right now. Indeed. Yes, it does. John Davis. Not to be confused with the front man of Korn.
Also a fighter.
Also a fighter. That's very true.
Who does not come out to Korn.
Pat, UFC storyline for UFC 295. A lot of interesting things. The John Jones fight isn't happening. Are you okay with the heavyweight tilt that they're going to set up for the interim belt? What are your thoughts on that, Patrick? Ugh.
What are your views on that, too?
You go first, and then I'll tell you mine.
Okay. Yeah, so mine's probably rare. I don't care about the whole interim title. It makes sense to me. Because everyone's acting like they can't defend the interim title.
Mm-hmm.
You can still defend an interim title. It's a number one contender belt, but you get pay-per-view points. That's all an interim title is.
Right.
You can lose it by tripping over a wire as well. Like, you don't have to lose it in a fight. So I do expect Tom Aspinall to win, and I expect him to defend it at least one time before Jones doesn't come back and just retires.
All right. Pat has responded in the chat. I'm actually going to be there. Better fight, but worse experience as a fan being there. How so? I'm curious. Didn't spend the crazy, or maybe you're answering your question right here. Didn't spend the crazy money that tickets cost, so not upset. Oh, because you're covering the event. Okay. Just happy to be seeing some great fights. How's the experience worse as a fan being there? I'm curious. Is it just because this was being billed as more or less the retirement fight for both of those two? Is that what you're insinuating? I'll give my thoughts here, but it looks like at the break, but it looks like for those that are joining and want to know a little bit what's going on, Gonzalez versus Burkholder. Burkholder seems to be well in control of the fight. He's been getting the better of his opponent through most of the wrestling and grappling exchanges. Thus far, it looks like a very clear 10-9 for the blue corner.
So, before you jump into yours, just so we know timing wise, are you like just at the break now, or are you ahead of me as usual?
No, I'm just at the break now.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what Pat said. No, he's not covering the event in a media capacity. Just okay, so we got to hook up with tickets. Yeah, fair enough. That's fair. That's fair. I do think that John Jones, I don't think he comes back. Not after a torn pectoral muscle like that at, what is John, 38 right now? 37,
Sounds
38?
about right. If not, he's like 37.
So you're talking about a 9-month recovery, and then he's going to presumably need another, 6 to 8 weeks in camp. So, I mean, you're thinking like just from a timeline perspective, that fight isn't going to happen for until summer of 2024 at the absolute earliest. And I just don't know.
And on the
how
other side,
realistic that
Stipe
is.
is 41 right now.
Right. So, and I think John Jones will have another birthday before the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think his birthday is like in January or February or something like that. Like at the beginning of 2024, I think is when his birthday is. All right. So we're getting into the second. I'll get to my view here at the next break. It's okay. So nice front kick by Gonzalez. But it seems like the pressure for Burkholder, it seems like that's he's having an issue trying to deal. Nice uppercut too. And it'll be very interesting to see if Gonzalez can figure out a way to get up off. Because it seems like getting back up to his feet has been a big challenge for him. Is that a Jackson Wink logo on his left hip? Or is that in my mind?
I believe so. So at Burkholder.
Oh yeah, it says Jackson.
Yeah,
right there.
He's
Okay,
so
he's a Wink guy. Okay. Yeah, they know a thing or two about wrestling in New Mexico.
And he only has the one loss, what was in his last fight. Curious to see who he lost to real fast. Nope, I asked for his record, not his ranking.
Yeah, right. So, Pat, what other fights if you're still with us, what other fights on the UFC 295 card are you looking forward to seeing? That goes for you too, John. What fight are you looking forward to seeing aside from the heavyweight intro? Dylan Rush said he was going to be here, by the way, and he hasn't. So he's a fraud.
Put it in the group chat that you don't like because they made fun of you for being bald.
Bastards.
And by they, I mean me.
But that's okay. You have a bald card. It's fine.
Yeah, I usually have a hat, but they're over there.
That's all right. You're looking good. You're looking good. You're looking okay.
Yeah, I'm just,
You look good. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm wearing your. You know what? It's funny. We didn't even plan this. See, I'm wearing your. See, this was not planned, by the way.
I was going to message you and be like, "Hey, wear the hat."
I am wearing the hat.
But no, I had an all black. I mean, this is a black shirt too, but I had an all black shirt on, and I just happened to like go in the room to put something away, and I saw like the Gildan tag, and I was like, "Yes."
So I did a shameless plug. I am probably going to be working with my supplier, Face Meets Fist. We're about to collab and start pushing out some more gear. I don't know what though. I was thinking. I think they might have something in play where I might be able to print my logo on a pair of Converse Chuck Taylors. So that might be something to look out for. If that's something that people would be interested in, I might be able to do something like that. I think that would be badass. This fight might be.
Yeah, he's gonna get the neck.
Yeah, it's looking that way. This might be it. Yep. All right. So it looks like Burkholder ends the fight. Second round, rear naked choke. Judging by the odds, it would seem that going into the second round, I bet a lot of people were expecting a first round finish. So for Gonzalez, that probably says quite a bit. People's main event, Matt Frivola versus Saint-Denis. Yeah, that'd probably be a good one. So we have a funny story about Matt Frivola. You should tell it.
Yeah.
Because you're the one that noticed him, not me.
We were walking through the Hard Rock in Atlantic City, and I don't think either one of us expected him to be there, despite it being like a very law-heavy card. And I just looked up, and like Matt is just standing next to like a baccarat table, like this, just looking. And I'm obnoxious, so I just yelled "steamroller."
Yes, like how you would normally yell it in a UFC arena. Zach yells it across the casino floor, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, what is this guy doing? And I'm like, oh shit, no, that really is Matt Frivola. So, and then Matt showed up and then started chit-chatting with us, and was super nice guy.
Yeah, he wouldn't shut up. Like, I talk a lot, but he would not shut up.
Yeah, he did like 99% of all the talking, and then it was either me or Zach. I don't know which one of us bald bimbos did it, but one of us brought up in our infinite wisdom how Terrence McKinney fucking knocked it out. And I don't know if it was you or me who brought that up. Was it you? Okay.
Yeah, because I mentioned that I guess Nas was fighting Terrence, and Matt was like, yeah, he's getting the one back. I'm like, by the way, I won a shitload of money on Terrence in that fight. And he was cool with it. He was really cool with it.
He was really cool. But I was like, oh my God, are we about to get freaking destroyed by Matt Frivola on the casino floor?
Yeah, because like it was one of those like we were just shooting the shit, and I just mentioned it, and he was just like, oh, and but I bet on you every other time.
But I did tell him I wanted, and I do actually sincerely believe this. I want him to fight Paddy Pimblett. I think that's a great fight.
I thought you were gonna say Conor McGregor.
Yeah,
because that was like the one fight he was like heavy set on, like the Paddy fight and then Conor.
That's quite a jump. I guess I should talk about the heavyweight fight that I keep avoiding. I don't think we're ever going to see Stipe and John Jones, as I've alluded to. That is like Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor 3, or Tony Khabib. Like, just forget about it. That fight's never going to happen. For all intents and purposes, like this fight, it'll have the interim sticker attached to it, but this is basically for the heavyweight title. I did watch James Lynch's preview about it. It was very interesting. Oh, wow. We'll definitely talk about that. It's very interesting, but James Lynch had a really good breakdown about the title fight, and he talked about stylistically how they both match up, and it seemed like I don't want to really speak for him, but it seemed like Lynch seems to have the opinion that the fight's not going to happen either. Zach, I'm assuming you watched it too. I think that's what James said. But James likes Aspinall for this one. I don't know. Honestly, for me, I think I lean Pavlovic. I think I lean the other way, but I have to. That's just my initial reaction. I'd have to study a little bit more about the matchups. But yeah, it's really exciting. We'll see what happens. But what's really curious for me is even if it is an interim, these guys aren't going to win. Or I'm sorry, presumably John Jones isn't even going to be healthy until next summer. So what do? I mean, even after this one, like that buys you until what, springtime? And then by springtime, you're going to have to like really kind of figure out what the hell is going on. So it wouldn't surprise me if the title goes from being an interim title to kind of for the next 3 or 4 months. And then like Dana will wave a magic wand. And then all of a sudden, whoever wins, Aspinall or Pavlovic, is just going to be the champion. That is what I think will happen.
All right, so I'm just curious. Where was it reported that Patty's out of the fight? I haven't heard that yet, and figure the people I am in a group chat with daily tend to say things ahead of time. I mean, I thought it was funny that he was so injured he couldn't fight Matt, and then magically had a fight with Tony Ferguson.
So if you guys haven't yet, and if you guys are checking out the recording of this, please subscribe to Zach's channel. You can find his content, 4 Ounces to Freedom. Zach just put out a killer interview with Fatima Klein, who's going to be fighting for the CFFC strawweight title next week. Zach, like, what were your takeaways? What were your thoughts about just sharing some time with her and getting her thoughts about the upcoming bout?
Yeah, so going in, I'm a total Fatima Klein geek. Like, I've loved all 4 of her fights with Invicta. I watched her grappling with Medusa. So when the fight was announced, I had to get that interview. And talking to her, I don't think she could be even more prepared than she is. She has the right team behind her. You look at who's around her. Trains heavily with Aaron Blanchfield. She trained with Jillian DeCourcy. So that's a UFC fighter right there on the chain, right there on the bout, basically right a fight or 2 away from the title. Jillian just had the Atomweight title at Invicta. She trains with Danielle Kelly, who is now the 1 strawweight grappling champion, I believe. So she's around like high level at all times. And she doesn't seem to be phased that this is a title fight. I don't know if that's because of the fact that she has won a title before. I mean, Medusa's straight grappling. It's not even, I think it might be combat, like a little bit of slaps, but nothing like you're not getting punched in the face. And then she ran up in a bantamweight as well. But I mean, you figure also too, like even things with like the UFC lights and glamour. She's done the walk with Aaron. She's done the walk with Elise.
Well, how about that? I'm sorry, Zach. I don't mean to be rude or cut you off, but you got Uriah Faber on an LFA show wearing a A1 Combat hoodie. I think that's cool.
And yeah, so I mean, definitely prepared. If anything, I'm more concerned about the opponent. Opponent has only made championship weight once in her pro career. When you bring in her amateur career, I think it's like 3 times total. CFFC has had some luck lately with certain people not making weight. Like
do you think there's going to be a possibility that only Klein can win the title because she's the only one that makes 15?
That's where I'm thinking. And you even figure CFFC does give a pound allowance as well.
Even for a title fight?
Yep.
Interesting.
They do 116 for 115 titles. I I wouldn't be surprised if the opponent comes in at 118, 120. That is a question I asked too, and Fatima is completely cool with just taking the 20%. Because she kind of knows, like, with the title, that's an invite to the next level. There's been 2 strawweight champions in the history. Miranda Granger won the fight and was signed as soon as she won the fight. And then Elise Reed won the fight, defended it twice, and is still in the UFC somehow. So I mean, that right there, and you figure all the female champions from CFFC have made it to the UFC. So, and being connected to the likes of like Elise Reed and Erin Blanchfield, like, it's a little easier to get signed when you have someone already signed, especially at the level that Erin's at right now.
Yeah,
but outside of that, I mean, that's the main event for November 3rd. I also did the co-main event. Jamel Jones, former CFFC heavyweight champion, former, or I guess kind of currently still the unified MMA heavyweight champion. He's dropping back down to light heavyweight. He's done, I think, he did contender series light heavyweight. He's lost to a guy that everyone kind of knows, and I want to say that was Chow from the Geeks, who fights next Saturday also.
Nice.
And he did the PFL route. He was brought in kind of as a sacrifice and beat the shit out of the kid in the first fight. And then the randomized matchmaking put him up against like the guys who are still in the finals today.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've seen that before. I mean, Solomon Renfro kind of got fed to the wolves as well.
Yes, he did.
And they do that, as random as they are. I mean, PFL will change the rules if you don't beat up your best friend. They'll, adjust what they have to do to make what they kind of want on the finals. And they kind of did that for Jamel as well.
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys are just joining us, it's a talking head. They have Uriah Faber on that they're interviewing. The ladies have not made the walk yet. So we are sitting through an interview at this point. So as soon as those ladies do walk out, I'll give you guys the Cliff Notes version of some of the things that I mentioned in the LFA 170 preview show that I did earlier this week.
Also, like, do you find it kind of weird that they're literally letting him promote A1? Like, not even just a shirt. Like, he's actively talking about A1.
I do think that's a little bit, yes, but I have to wonder if behind the scenes, like UFC Fight Pass is like, no, this is what we're gonna do, because think about all the different cross promotions you could do, like have the LFA champion go up against the CFFC champion or whatever, and I do think that at some point we might see like a special tournament of champions of some kind. Like, that's pure speculation on my part. I'm pulling that out of thin air, but it just seems to me that they're kind of trending in that direction, if you will. I mean, you did see Immortal Lotus from APFC. He won a flyweight title with APFC, and then that promotion is okay with him fighting for the CFFC title, which he ended up capturing as well. So, yeah, that's just pure speculation on my part, but I think it'd be great for a regional MMA. I'm for it. Really, go ahead.
You're about to stop the fight. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll give you guys just kind of like a really quick synopsis of what I looked at when I saw these two. So the fight's Shannon Clark from Canada. She's 3-0. And one of the things about her that you're going to notice right away is she is absolutely chiseled out of her goddamn mind. She comes in with a lot of physicality, a lot of aggression. She doesn't win pretty. She's kind of raw and she takes a lot of damage, but she's not going to get tired. She's very physical. She's very aggressive, and she just breaks her opponents. She wins ugly. Oftentimes on the feet, But those are kind of the things that I see about her. It's just her pure strength and aggression. She's very, very strong for this weight class, and you're going to see a difference between her strength and rep strength pretty early on in this fight. As far as her opponent Rep, when she makes the walk, she comes from a kickboxing background. She initially trained in Washington State. She has since relocated to Colorado, and she's training out of Factory X at the moment with Harris Talundzic and company. I think because they're both from Bosnia Herzegovina, her and Talundzic knew each other, and he's the one that brings her over into the gym. And one of the things about Rep is she's a very good striker. She's a very crisp striker, very polished. Her clinch, something to be desired in that department. She can level change pretty well in her grappling jiu-jitsu. That seems to be okay. But the concern I have with her is like her strength in the clinch. She fought a pretty low-level opponent her last fight out, and her opponent was basically able to dominate her and pin her up against the fence and really like get a lot of damage on her with knees and with elbows and striking in the clinch. So I'm curious to see if she's cleaned up that portion of her game going into this fight. For this one, the odds Rep -125. The last time I looked at it, Clark -105. So you're talking about a pick'em fight. For me, when I made my prediction for this fight, I'm actually picking Clark, who is kind of trading back and forth between -105. I've also seen her at +110 all the way up to +120. This one could probably go either way. I think the odds are pretty much where I anticipated them to be. I think this fight is either going to end Rep by decision or Clark by knockout or submission. It would not surprise me if Clark is 2 rounds in the hole and then going into the third, she turns up the aggression and finds a finish then. I've seen her do that too. She's not going to quit. She will take a ton of damage, like I said. So that is one thing that I'm kind of looking for. And this is what I was talking about. This is how she ended up winning her fight. If you're looking at it on the replay, she just made a wonderful level change on her opponent, got the fight down. But her opponent was kind of on the way out, if we're being honest. Her opponent looked like she was gassing out. So we'll see what happens. John makes a really excellent point in the chat. Make sure you guys are paying attention to what he's saying in the chat because he's dropping some gems. With Rep training at Factory X, obviously this altitude is not going to be an issue for her. But I would also say that where Clark is from, she's from Alberta, and that's pretty high up there too. Now, nothing like Vail elevation, but I've also spent some time in Alberta before, and that's pretty mountainous country there too. So it's not like she's coming from sea level into this fight. So we'll see what happens for it. But I'm actually pretty excited about this one. So they'll be interesting to see. But that's just kind of like a rough synopsis of what I think we're looking at for this fight. And now we are looking at the beautiful Mike Kendall with his knockoff Rolex that seems overly shiny.
It's definitely real. LFA pays that well that he has multiple real Rolexes. But no, in my highly professional 2 minutes of research, Eileen Shannon Clark, I value her unified win over both of Rep's LFA wins.
And yeah, I that stood out to me too, Zach, and that's why I cited that way too. I think the level of competition is a little bit higher for Shannon Clark. So yeah, I do agree with you there.
I mean, it's going to piss off Joe Pfeiffer because you're only supposed to represent your country fighter, which is funny because she's not from the U.S. Like, she's only now from Denver. I don't know why she has a U.S. flag and not a Bosnian flag. But do you, I guess?
I've been to that. So you used to live in Montreal. Okay, yeah, my mom lives in Colorado Springs, so I'm somewhat familiar with that general area. And it is no joke. Even when I visit my mom in Colorado Springs, it's like, dude, you walk up her stairs and it's like dude, it's like my 600-pound life, dude. By the time you get up the stairs, you're just like, oh my God, like I might die. It's a possibility. Anywho, yeah, like I said, Shannon Clark's a pretty intimidating specimen, and you can kind of see why I'm saying that when you're looking at her. And by no surprise, she's going right into the center of the cage, and she is looking to lead the dance right away. But I think she needs to keep up that pressure. You don't want to give her too much distance, because Rep will pick her apart if she just respects her too much and doesn't go in.
And John also said, is the ref the guy that made some dodgy calls as a judge earlier in the year?
I've seen this dude before in like Fury and other.
He's the one that let Elvis kill the guy, right? Is that the same ref?
Is he? I don't know. Could be. Could be.
I just think everyone with a longer brown to white beard is the guy who let the Elvis kill a guy. And then the UFC was like, yeah, we'll sign you.
Nice. I think Clark, I think she needs to figure out a way without being super obvious. Test Rep in the clinch. That's where I want to take the fight if I'm Clark right now. Right now. Yep. This is where she wants the fight. And this is a moment of truth for Rep. Is she going to be able to get out of this? Because in her last fight, she wasn't. And now she was against some pretty middling competition, and Rep is a lot stronger. So we'll see. Well, she's okay.
Getting it back.
Well, she got out of it. So she's been working in that area. But again, I would expect Clark to try to spam the clinch.
So I want to throw a question out just because, it is kind of rare to see a regional women's MMA fight. Especially, I know we have like John. We might still have Pat, but Pat may have got lost in Canada. Is there any interest from like the general populace in PFLW?
I don't know what it is.
I was like, or secondary. Have you even heard of PFLW?
No, apart from that one promotion that they did.
Yeah. And it was like, hey, we signed this boxer. PFLW. And then
right.
Because I sent you like that Forbes article, and I didn't read it. I skimmed it. That's where my interest is with PFLW.
Oh, nice elbow.
Real nice come out of that.
And again, she's right in the clinch. Exactly where I thought Clark wanted to take this, and that's exactly what she's doing.
And Rep is still composed, but she does, like, when the clinch initial happens and she really forces it, she looks confused at first.
Yeah. And she's getting a lot of nice body work in. And Rep has to get out of these positions, because I'm telling you, like, even at this elevation, Clark, the odds or likelihood of Clark gassing out, in my opinion, are very low. She's an athlete. I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen. It could, but I have yet to see her ever show any sort of fatigue. Like, she can keep this pace up for an entire 15 minutes without any issues. Yep.
Nice transition out of it. Nice elbow, though, too.
But she needs to break away now. Rep needs, like, get out of this. Break away.
Especially when you look at the fact when Clark is controlling the clinch, she's doing damage. Rep is kind of just...
Because there we go. She had her hook. She had her chance to break away, and she didn't. And now Clark has put her right back to where Rep does not want to be. And judging so far by the first 5 minutes of this fight, like, Clark to me is in the driver's seat. Clark to me is the one that's landing the more volume. Yes, Rep has had her moments. She hasn't been dominated by any stretch, but I'm just saying, like, to me, this is a clear 10-9 round for Shannon Clark. And optically, the last 30 seconds are making my case even stronger.
Yeah, really nice tie clinch or slight tie clinch to finish. 10-second clapper.
And this, to me, that's too little too late. And you can even see Clark framing off and then bam, reverses position right away. So I would imagine that Clark is going to try to emulate that game plan and go right back to that well. And this is where, if you're just now catching up, if you're just now joining us, going into this fight, we're watching Shannon Clark, and she's fighting Nara Rep. And this is one of the deficiencies that I saw when I was doing my homework on Nara Rep. It was that her clinch work. That was my biggest question mark about her. And so far, we're seeing Shannon Clark really try to test her opponent in that department, get the better of these exchanges.
Now we have Cade side press in the chat now too. What up, Cade?
Hey, what's up, Cade? Thanks for joining us, man. How are you?
Stealing the nickname from Chalice Sonnen.
I love it. Any contrary opinions? Does anyone have that?
I love how I don't use OneDrive, but
does anyone have that round going to Rep? I'd be curious if anyone did have that round scored for Rep. I'd love to hear why.
I don't disagree with Gil though. I think she still is in the fight, but if she gets even half a round this round, like the first, Rep's gonna be really struggling even in the third to get anything out of this. I mean, at least she's kind of controlling pace so far, but it's only 15 seconds in.
But you could see, like, Clark is willing to take the damage. Like, she's willing to pay the toll to get inside.
Yeah.
And now she baited her, and now she's back in. And there again, like, Rep had that opportunity to take a back step and to reset and go and walk back into the center. And she got over aggressive, and now she's paying for it. So let's see if she can get out of it. So there she go. We see her reverse position now. But again, there you go. That's what she needed to do. Separate from the clinch and get back into the center of the cage. And this is where Rep wants to stay. Like, she does not want to be by the fence. She needs to stay in the center of the cage. And hopefully her coaches are telling her that.
Also wouldn't hurt. I know she just got two nice body shots too. Rep could work the body a little bit. That's going to slow down the pace of Clark, who, as long as she has the pace and the stamina to do so, is going to keep doing this into the cage. Because not only is she, I mean, they only weigh, this is what, a 115 pound?
Yes, sir. Straw weights.
So
you figure what? They're 125 pounds? So no, they're flyweights, 125. So what are they, 130 pounds, 135 pounds?
I mean, you're saying maybe at the most put 15 pounds on at the rehydration, depending on what they're cutting. 140 at the max.
Right.
Like, you're not really putting weight on the body to hold them down. So it's not even like if Rep was to get tired, she can't even somehow reverse this and just hang on Clark. It's not going to do anything at 125. But I mean, Rep's already starting to shut down anyway.
Right.
And then also to kind of feed off of John's answer to Cade. This is the second fight on the main card. I didn't see any of the prelims. I know LFA does do a great job of putting the prelims on YouTube and not on a porn site. So that's always appreciated. And I gave Invicta hope tonight. And instead of the LFA prelims, I stayed on the Invicta. And I feel dirty about it because Invicta's card was terrible. So
there definitely left some to be desired.
Yeah, and John kind of mentioning your typical good scraps. I know LFA gave John some love tonight too. John does a great job of promoting the bigger cards of the night, and LFA appreciated it. That's how I knew we at least had decent prelims, because there was at least enough retweets and people not being mad.
Cade, if you are still with us, I would be curious to know if you are doing anything for Bellator 301. And are you surprised that there's a Bellator 301? Because Zach and I sure shit are.
Not as shocked as Atkins diet.
Oh, we're going there.
I don't hold back.
So again, it's more or less. Wait, why are they breaking them up? That seemed interesting to me because Clark was working the entire time. I don't know why.
Why are you ahead of me on the stream?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm at 45 seconds in the stream right now.
Yeah. All right. So we're 5 seconds off. I don't understand why this happens.
It's because of all the questionable browsing history on your computer, on all the viruses that you have as a result of that, or what is why you're behind.
You would think. All right. You at 20 seconds now?
No. So maybe you're ahead.
Okay.
So I'm
back along with you then.
So, okay, I'm at 15 seconds at the moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
So, in my opinion, I'm looking at this one, guys, and this seems more or less a repeat of the first. It is a little bit closer. I thought Rep made it a little more, made the first, 90 seconds or so more interesting. But again, I'm looking at this, and I don't see how you can't give both of those rounds to Clark. And in my mind, Rep needs to get a finish in this one in order to win this fight. She's not going to, again, crazy shit. I've seen crazier shit happen. Zach and I have seen our fair share of crazy fights and questionable decisions, but I just
at
don't
LFA
see
too.
At LFA too. So I just don't see a world in which Rep wins round 1 or 2. I don't see that.
See, I'm also curious now too. So Invicta, for example, have done shows in Colorado. And they have live scoring.
I know. I know that that's the case in Kansas or Missouri, wherever when they did at the Fight Church.
Yeah,
that was the case.
But they did it in Colorado as well.
Interesting. What, are you talking about Fury, or are you talking about Invicta?
Invicta, when they were in Colorado, they had open scoring. So I wonder why we don't get that here. I know Colorado is also fluid with their rule set. Like they allow the one championship rule set.
Mm-hmm.
So that's knees to the ground an opponent and all that too. This is a fight where I have it 2-0, but I'm not 100% confident to say that all 3 judges will have it 2-0.
So you think it's a possibility that this is one apiece?
I'm sure there's one judge because the second round was closer than the first, but I thought from the view we have on broadcast, Clark controlled it better.
Oh, so nice
I'm just
body
thinking,
kick.
If I'm in person, is that any different?
To me, I just love what Shannon Clark's doing. She is just fighting exactly the right the type of fight that that I expected her to. She's making it dirty, and you can tell when there is distance between the two, she's not as good of a striker as Rep is. You could tell that Rep is the cleaner striker of the two and the more accurate one, but Clark's just going to keep coming. And I like what she's been doing. I don't know, Zach, if you've been noticing, that was very interesting how Rep went for a level change there. But one thing that I noticed is, have you noticed that Clark was kind of baiting her in by walking backward to the cage, and then Rep would bite, and then she would get an underhook and then spin her ass back around and throw her back on the cage. And she's done that 2 or 3 different times now, I've noticed.
Yeah, and it is shocking how easily she is getting this game plan. Not only is she getting it, she's getting it easy. Like you said, we are 12 minutes into this fight, and she's still biting on every single bait. Her corner's not catching on. She's
Clark
not
is
on.
Clark is laying the traps, and Rep is just going to need to dig deep and make something special happen. She either needs to find a way in the clinch to, I don't know, take the fight down to the ground and maybe test Shannon there. Really, I think a level change is really the best thing that could happen for her, because it seems like she doesn't have an answer for the pressure. See, and I don't agree with this. That's the second time that he's broken them up, and I disagree with that. Shannon's been active the entire time against the fence. I just think that's a horseshit call.
And she's not doing the tap with the knees. Like, she's throwing knees into her knee, belly if she can get to it, but she's not fake acting or fake being
exactly
actionable.
Yeah, she was kneeing. She was doing body work the entire time. Like, she wasn't just hugging her; she was working.
Yeah, I don't know if he doesn't realize, like, knee in the knee is just taking it out of her leg. You do it enough, she's not going to be able to put a lot of pressure on that leg, and it's basically nonstop leg hits the entire time too. So it's just, I'd be curious. I know John mentioned about him kind of like being questionable previously before. I don't get how you do that mess up twice.
Now, Rep just needs to let it fucking rip at this point. Break the distance. I'd throw up a freaking head kick. I would do something. She needs to do something. But does she have that in her? And look how wild she's swinging at this point. And I think she's completely gassed.
You're saying 14 minutes of being control, or let's be nice and give Rep maybe a minute of control, because she did reverse a couple times.
Yeah.
So, but still, 90% of the control time has been on Clark's end.
Right.
And Rep is either just taking it or fighting to reverse it and not doing anything with it. So putting all the effort into the reversal instead of separating or doing anything.
No, I think this has been an absolute mauling by Shannon Clark. She has looked absolutely fantastic. She has done exactly what she needed to do. Yeah. And let's not get it twisted. Rep's a dangerous striker. She's very gifted, but you can look at Shannon Clark and it doesn't matter. Like, her brute force, her strength, her physicality. It may, like I said, she doesn't win pretty, but she fucking wins. And she just did right now. I mean, that's a clear 3 rounds to Shannon Clark, in my opinion. I do not have Rep winning any round. And they can pick her up all they fucking want, but I'm sorry. She lost.
And like I said,
round.
I think one judge is going to be that weird, like, he's worried to give it one way versus the other, so we'll go with Rep just to give it to her. So I'm saying 2 30-27s, 1 29-28. I mean, regardless, no matter what, it's a win for Clark.
Absolutely.
We've said that with a few other
nice uppercut too. Hey, Dylan, my man. Perfect timing. For everybody in the chat that, or for everyone on the stream that is watching, Dylan Nossman just joined, friend of the show. Please check out my work with Dylan. He joined me. We broke down the UFC 295 card, and we also previewed this one as well. So looks like they're about ready to announce the winner. And let's see, Mr. Nossman, if I put us on the board by picking Shannon Clark. Let's see. The LFA guy is running away like you saw a mouse in the cage. Okay.
I like that the ref made them touch hands.
Yeah. Uncle Creepy. And we're on the board. Shannon Clark. So I'm 1-0. I think I picked one more fight. I think I gave Dylan most of the work because that's how I roll on my show. If you're a guest on my show and I ask you on to predict fights or to do a preview, know that I'm going to give you the hardest fights, and I will cherry pick all the easy ones so I look good. Yeah. So anyway, I'm bringing this up. So Dylan, make sure that you follow Dylan Nostman. Dylan, I'm actually going to be interviewing him later this month. He will be fighting in a Muay Thai fight in Arizona later in November. So I'm excited about that. But please make sure you follow him. He's a great guy. He's also a combat sports journalist as well. And yeah, just a great guy, very knowledgeable. And we are going on to his fight next. Dylan actually picked this fight. It's a fight between Cal Machado and Ilior Bakhtiar. So more on that. I'll try to do my best job prefacing or giving you guys the Cliff Notes version of what he said when we get closer.
And then to give an idea, Topology has 88% for the Kazakhstan guy. I'm not trying that name. And only 12% for Machado.
So Dylan is on Machado for this fight. Dylan's with the upset special, and oh man, I'm getting put on the spot here because he put it very eloquently in our preview. But to preface what it was that he said, Dylan had mentioned that there's a lot to be desired with this guy, and we may not questionable fight IQ. Level changes. He wasn't a fan of the level changes by this opponent as well. And his record is a little bit fraudulent. He really didn't win his last fight. He kind of got a gift, an early Christmas present. And to summarize, Dylan was basically saying that Machado might just be too much for him at this point in the game. So Dylan is expecting Machado to put the brakes on the prospect here. Can we put Dylan's last comment on the chat so people can see it?
This one?
Yes, sir. There you go. So there you have it by the man himself. With the plus 180 dog pick. There you go. So far, I took Clark, who was a mod. You can't really call her a dog. It was a pick'em fight. But Dylan, with the brass balls, is saying Cal Machado is the right pick for this one. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'll say also a bit of the odds outside of just, the recent record of the Kazakhstan. He trains with Mike Valley at VFS Sports. So that will probably sway some odds makers there too, because a lot of those guys are good. But I mean, I like what Dylan is saying too. Like all but the last of Machado's losses are in the UFC. You can't say that about the guy whose name I'm still not going to try to say.
You can call Bakhtiar Ulu. You can just say Ulu and we'll know. Just call him Ulu.
That guy.
Do you get nervous about picking guys that don't have tattoos? Because I fucking do. I'm just saying, dude. Like, I look at it, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm getting like template character and UFC 5 vibes.
No,
I mean, you need like some shitty barbed wire or something at least, right? I don't know. Or pizza. Pizza in the house.
He's from Chicago. So, I mean, he could have a deep dish. I don't know if you call it a slice because it's like a fucking lasagna on his arm.
I wish that they served pizza at the fucking joint there at AC. They don't.
There's a great pizza spot right there, right on the boardwalk, right next to it, though.
Dude, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to eat pizza like while I'm drinking beers with you, watching the fight. But
yeah,
that would be nice, wouldn't it?
I don't think we
Anyway,
even had any of the food at the actual like venue.
no, I mean, no, I think the last fight. I mean, what we just like drank our food basically.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about that? I think we're allowed to talk about it. It
Yeah.
wasn't too crazy.
Yeah. I was fine. I was sober by 3:30.
Well, I will like you were pretty ripped by the time like Charlie Campbell fight. I thought things were starting to kind of go downhill for you.
Yeah, that was like 4 or 5 Long Islands in, and then everyone kept buying me beers.
Sorry about that.
And I made friends with. I know they don't really make the Long Islands either. It's like a machine.
Yeah,
But like the chick that was making mine, like it looked like she was trying to add extra in for me.
Nice.
And I was like, cool. Like I appreciate that. Like, she made sure to let me know like the refill cup is cheaper. So like I hugged that thing the entire night. Like this is cheaper. Yeah, I was like four or 5 Long Islands in, and then I think 4 or 5 whatever beers they were selling because I don't neglect free beer.
No. Yeah, we drank a lot of beers with the G2 boys, didn't we?
I made friends with everyone too.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I think the most obnoxious thing I did was I made Jose take a picture of me and you, and then I think I made him take another picture of
you and Jake,
me and Pat, and me and Jake. Like I made Jose. I'm like, and I remember I was kind of fucked up at the time, but I do remember thinking to myself like the audacity. Like I'm making like the featherweight champion take a picture of like me and my fucking idiot friends. Like just like the fucking audacity of me. You know, it was just fucking bizarre. It reminded me of a meme. There was this one kid, like a fan, and he asked Lionel Messi to take the photo of him and like some random fucking guy that was on the team. And like Messi's the one taking the pictures, and I'm just like, that's what this is right now. Speaking of Jose Perez, when do you think we're going to see him fight again? I'm not asking you to spill state secrets.
I have not heard anything, so it's not spilling anything.
Do you think there's a possibility we would see him in? Well, spring's probably too late for him, though, right? Like he can't wait. They can't hold on to him until spring, can they? That seems late.
I thought December made sense for him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought him versus Ryan Cafaro would have been like the great like end of the year for both of them. But I think it's going to be probably January, February.
Tunica or 2300.
I would hope 2300 because it's cheaper than flying to Tunica.
Yeah.
But no, I think I forget how the start of the year usually goes. I know
2300, right?
It's usually I think it's usually hometown, like the home show. So 2300.
Yeah, so
I think because Parks is usually around March, April is like the first Park show.
Summer of '92. Wow, Zach was like, I don't know if Zach was even born in 1992. Zach is like 12. I don't know if people know that, but it's true.
I shave it this way.
Yeah,
gets me.
He's a fraud. He's a fraud. So, if you guys are just joining us in the chat, we are on up into the next fight. And a quick look at the odds. Machado, as I mentioned before, plus 185. Bakhtiar Ulu, minus 250. A lot of action on the Kyrgyzstani fighter. But Dylan Nostman is on Machado. That is his pick for this one. So do with that information as you will. And if you are also a late reminder, Shannon Clark, if you did miss that fight, she ended up winning the bout by unanimous decision against Nara Rep. So good, a very interesting, a very solid performance on her part. And his ear, John, also seems a little crazy town, I have to say.
Yeah, I do have to kind of go with John there too. Ulu's nose is like non-existent. Like his face kind of just goes.
If you guys are joining us in the chat, feel free to drop whatever questions that you have or comments. Zach or I will get to anything that we can. Happy to answer whatever questions you guys may have. But ask us about regional MMA if you would be so kind, because we're regional MMA guys. Is anyone watching Cage Warriors, by the way? Cage Warriors tomorrow. They'll be fighting in Rome. There's some interesting ones on that one, too. I am not doing anything for Cage Warriors. I didn't predict that or do any sort of preview for that one. But nonetheless, there's some interesting ones. I do need to get some Italian guys on the show at some point. I don't know if I've had any Italian guys on yet, but I will. Well, I'm your Cage Warriors dude. Trust me. I am going to try to get some more Cage Warriors guys on here. I don't know what I will be able to get. I'm just kind of looking ahead at the schedule. Cage Warriors 164, the middleweight title will be up for grabs. I might try to see who I can get on that card. Cage Warriors 165, I will definitely have a couple for that one. Cage Warriors 165, that is going to be happening in San Diego. And there are a few fighters that I know that will be competing on that card. So that's something to look out for. But 164 is kind of the one I'm more interested in terms of like the European shows. So we'll see. It seems like they're trying to set up an eventual fight between Dario Bonaldi and Will Curry. It seems like that's the fight that they want to try to do. So we'll see. So far, it looks like Bakhtiar is just completely freaking annihilating Machado. Machado needs to make something happen. I don't know if laying on his back is the right course of action against this fucking guy. Looks like Machado got away with a little... Oh, nice little up kick right to the freaking non-existent nose of Ulu.
And he's not being held. If I'm Ulu, I'm standing here. Why would I want to be in this area where I'm not in full control?
No, yeah, I agree. Did you guys catch Paul Hughes, his knockout over Jan K. Hagens? Did anyone see that? Bueller. But for Cage Warriors, that is a name you're going to hear again. Just like how you're hearing about Ian Gary, you are going to hear that name, Paul Hughes, at that next level. UFC has tried to bring Paul Hughes onto the cards on a short on two different occasions, but that wasn't able to. That Paul asked for a full camp. He didn't want to take a fight on a short notice. So hey, I have to commend him for that. He wants to go in on his own terms. Ian Gary has gotten booted from several gyms. I'm a little limited on what I can tell you. But if you DM me, John, I will answer that question in more thoroughness. I've heard some other things about him training stateside, and it hasn't gone well there either. So I'm limited in what I can say on this forum. But if you, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but if you DM me, I'll answer. If you want to know, I'll tell you. If not, you can ask Zach, and I can tell Zach. I may have already told him, actually. I don't remember. I say a lot of shit to Zach. All right, so I'm looking at this one, and hey, yeah, that's more than fair. Looking at this one, I mean, pretty clear 10-9 for the Kyrgyzstani fighter. I think Machado, we saw him try to go and take the fight to the ground. That kind of backfired on him, but it was a clear 10-9 for Ulu that round.
I mean, the good news is Ulu did put a bit of effort, unneeded effort in that round.
Yeah.
That might be a factor late round 2, then of course round 3. Because he didn't really get that takedown that was kind of given to him, so it's not like he wanted to be down there. It just worked out. Nice skeleton. He's gonna pop out.
He'll pop out. He's going for it, but
he has no nose. It should just slide.
He's uh-oh.
That's going to score well. 2 minutes. Not even 2 minutes in now.
So I did drop you a DM, Zach, about more about what the Gary answer is in your DM. So if you want to tell John, if you have a different way to communicate with him, that's the answer. I'm not saying it on this though. I would leave the name out. I would leave the name out of it if you can. If you guys are just joining us, welcome. Please keep in mind, I've said this disclaimer before. Zach and we are unable to rebroadcast anything that's happening on UFC Fight Pass. So if you want to watch the fight, you're going to have to stream this on UFC Fight Pass. I think that goes without being said, but we've gotten some hate about that earlier, and we just want to make sure you guys know what this is. And this is basically just a space where we can drink beers and hang out and watch the fights together. That's all it is. So we're not doing commentary. We aren't rebroadcasting anything. It's just a hangout spot. But welcome, guys. Thanks for being here. Ian Gary is very unlikable. I don't think there's any question about it. Yes, I'm putting that up there. Yes, he is very unlikable. And then here's the other thing, though, is Ian Gary, do you remember in Cage Warriors, he had to walk into the cage on his own because his team left him. His team left him in the freaking gym because they were just this guy is just a complete asshole. I think there's more to that story than what any of us know in the media, but there have been multiple incidents of his gyms and his coaches and his teammates not taking a liking to him. I think Machado had his shot. It looked like he wanted a triangle at first, and then he went with that guillotine. I wonder how much lactic acid is in his biceps at this point, because it looks like he gave it everything that he possibly had. But looks like Bakhtiar Ulu is just completely in control of the fight. And it would seem to me that Machado is going to need to figure out a way to get a submission to have a chance to win this, because this is a clear 2 rounds in the bank for Bakhtiar. What other questions do you guys have? Drop them in the chat and let us know. Zach, how do you see this? What does Machado need to do to like get back in the fight?
I mean, I think he actually burned himself out when it was going on. I didn't think he was really killing his arms on that choke. So I don't know what he can even pull off here without having fully working arms.
Yeah.
And surviving is not going to do anything for him. So it's not like if he makes the next 5, there's no chance he wins. So I mean, he has to, whatever he can pull out of his arms, go for the guillotine right away and be able to move once he starts moving around. Like he could have turned that guillotine into a slightly different, like modify it a little bit more, and he could have kept on. But no, he's not going to knock him out. And he just has to get back to that position again and not lose the actual connection.
Yeah, I think it's unanimous. I think we all have it 2 in the bank for Ulu, for sure. Machado's just going to need to let it fucking rip, take some chances. Even if it means getting potentially knocked out, he has to go for it. Are there any other regional MMA fights that are going on this weekend that you guys are interested in? We have Cage Warriors. That's going on tomorrow. I don't know if Eternal MMA is happening like at 4 or 5 in the morning. Definitely not something to watch live, but what else is going on this week?
So I think there is a Canadian card that might be Unified tomorrow.
Unified going? Okay.
I think so. They do a pretty bad job promoting. So I think I saw it while like looking at records, not so much them pushing it. So
okay, honestly, and this is a loaded comment because number one, they don't consider themselves a regional promotion, but I will tell you, Combate is the absolute worst. I don't ever fucking know who is going when. I don't know what the main events are. I don't know what the co-main events are. I don't know who the champions are. I don't know what time the freaking cards are even supposed to happen. I don't know if it's on a recording, a tape delay. What is by far the most difficult promotion to watch. And so I don't, unless there's somebody I know that's fighting on it. Amigo.
Yeah. And I even have Paramount Plus set to alert me of Combate Global cards, and
even then it's like half chub.
Like they might put it on the home screen. Like there's no like alert, no.
So Paramount Plus on my Fire Stick, it won't work. By the way, I'm just like, so like in order to watch it, I have to like watch it through my actual app that's pre-programmed into my TV. Like it's just a fucking disaster.
I mean, I'll go as far as saying I like the setup they have though. That's why if they had better promoted cards, I would watch it. It's a decent show.
The production isn't like bad.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say.
Don't know when it is and who's ever fighting unless like you see someone mention it while it's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when it's not a live show, you can't really like say shit because God forbid you say the result.
So Machado needs to let it fucking rip at this point. He needs a submission right now, or this fight's over. Like, he needs to figure out to get a rear naked choke. He needs to do something. This is it. This is it for him. He needs to let it fucking rip. This is it. This is his best chance at winning the fight right now, and he's under the chin. This fight might be over. He's done. He's done. Wow. Dylan fucking Nostman pulled that one out of his ass.
All right, so that is a terrible stoppage, though, because the guy tapped like 4 times before he actually like called it off.
Wow. So we are 2-0. We are 2-0 on the night, and the dogs start barking like Mike Breeden, Zach. You're not barking. I'm disappointed. Are you going to pull it up? You're pulling it up. Well, you're not barking. I said the dogs are fucking carrying this show. I picked Shannon Clark, who was a dog, and then Dylan picked Machado as a dog. I feel like we are entitled to like a bark of some sort. I mean, because we're fucking crushing this card so far, 2-0.
I would do that, but my dog is on the other side of the room, and I'm not putting up with it.
There we go. Fucking Dylan Nostman pulled that one out of his fucking ass. So now we have to follow that up and be lame. And I picked Thompson for this one, so let's see if we can keep the streak going. More on this one to come, but holy shit. I mean, talk about pulling that one off out of his fucking ass. But I tell you what, like, if you guys are just now joining the chat, rewind another 20 minutes or so and check out the recap of this breakdown. Those words, all of that analysis, that was none of that was not me. That was me regurging what Dylan Nostman said in our LFA 170 preview show. So if you did watch our LFA 170 preview show, none of this should be a surprise to you because Dylan picked this fight perfectly. Yes. Oh my God, indeed, sir. He pulled that one out. What do you think, John? That she psyched out Ulu? It's a possibility. She's pretty. I will say Cal Machado, he follows me on Instagram. I don't know why. Yep. Yes, he does. Dylan and I will also be doing a preview show again for LFA 172. Their next fight is going to be in Brazil. We're skipping that one. But LFA 172, I believe that is in... is that in Phoenix or is that in Nevada? I don't remember. But anyway, wherever LFA 172 is, Dylan and I will be doing that one. And then as far as live streams, Zach, I don't think we're doing anything again until November. I don't know if we've decided what we're going to do.
Yeah, because I'm doing a solo one. I'm doing CFFC 127.
Mm-hmm.
If I think the number's correct. Doing that Friday.
Well, then maybe Dylan and I will make America great again without you and do an LFA one on our own.
I thought you were about to say Titan FC. Aren't they making things better again?
According to Richie Lewis, they are.
They're the same company who just had to cancel their last show 2 days before, right?
Allegedly. Oh, Mr. Ed. We could I don't know. What would you guys like us to do? Because Zach and I like to try to get a live stream in. This is our second one of October.
Yeah, we did the last LFA 3 weeks ago.
So if there's something that you would like Zach and I to do for November, let us know. And we'll try if we can. Cage Warriors is probably out because of the time difference, just FYI. And I have no interest in doing a solo one. That ain't gonna happen for me. I'll either be doing them with Zach, I'll do it with Dylan, or maybe somebody else, but I'm not doing it by myself. I would get too bored.
He also gets scared to be alone. So
yeah, I would need a nightlight too. Yes, that's true.
Fear.
It is a fear. So CFFC, but Zach's doing a solo one. There's also the PFL championships. But then again, I'm gonna be out of town with doing family shit. So I don't know if that's realistic for us to do.
Yeah, because I may be going to that in person. I've been. I think I spent the last month talking myself into it, and I haven't moved yet. So
what is
going?
Won't
happen.
What is going on next month?
Yeah, it's what starts off with CFFC. There's no other CFFC card next month. There's no Combat FC. There's no Art of War.
Sorry.
There's no.
I know you're a big AOW fan. I know you are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Zach doesn't really know a lot about Cage Warriors, so I don't know. If
that's a big issue there, really.
So that one might not work. I'm looking. I know. Obviously, we would want to do a regional MMA card, and I'm just kind of like looking at the schedule to see like what's something that would make sense for us to do.
Because the only other one's like Cage Titans, and I don't know if I could watch an entire Cage Titans card.
Yeah, agreed.
Like
we could do the what about Pettis? When do they go? The Pettis card might be worth it.
Is it the 15th?
I think so.
It might be the 17th, but yeah. There's one.
There's Bellator 301, which whatever. I mean, the card though isn't that bad, I have to say. But I would prefer to do a regional one. There's LFA 172. That's November 17th. What else?
So LFA and APFC are going the same day.
Is that the case? But I would be okay with the APFC. APFC is the 19th.
19th. That's right. They do those weird days, right? And 19th is a Sunday. That makes sense.
And it's a Sunday at 3 p.m. That's easy. We could do that. That might be our next one. APFC, November 19th.
That works. I'll be doing the 3rd and the 19th, so it's not like right after each other.
And I'm going to try to, for sure. So if you guys are watching the live stream, I'm okay with telling you guys I will be interviewing Nate Jennerman. And I will also be interviewing Cody Lynn, who will be fighting for the flyweight championship. So I'll have 2 guys for sure that will be on the show. Maybe more. We'll see. It just depends on if I can get those booked or not. But I am going to have at least a couple of those fighters on the show. I would like to talk to Motaz Oscar, though. He's 5-1. He's in the featherweight division, and he's in the co-main event. He's an interesting prospect to me. I wouldn't mind talking to him. I'll just see if I can make that happen or not. Usually when I try to cover an event, I try to like limit whoever it is that I have come through. I try to limit it to like 2 to 3 fighters because it just gets too freaking hard because you have to push them all out at roughly around the same time. And once you figure in editing and all that other jazz, it's not always easy to do. KSW is tough. Zach and I don't really watch it because of the time difference. I do watch it occasionally, but... All right, so AJ Robb versus Isaac Thompson. If you guys are joining us right now, this is a fight that we talked about in our LFA 170 preview. And I will tell you that this is the fight that I told people that have any sort of gambling interest, stay away from this fight. Thompson minus 325, Robb plus 230. I don't like those odds. Isaac Thompson is like a very young, hyped up prospect, and he's going up against a guy that knows a thing or two about wrestling, who just isn't very popular outside of Colorado. AJ Robb is his opponent that Isaac Thompson will be fighting. I'll stick with Thompson for a second. I mentioned he trains out of Team Alpha Male. He's very young. He's in his early 20s. He's from Australia. He is now based in California, and he's one of those next generation hybrid fighters that we see. He can strike pretty well. He can grapple decently. He can wrestle decently. There's a lot to like about this guy, and there's really the sky's the limit for this kid. A lot of people are on him. A lot of people are excited about what it is that he can do, but he's arguably going up against one of the most difficult guys in his career in AJ Robb. AJ Robb is a guy that's based out of Colorado Springs, but he's also trained out of Extreme Couture. I want to say he's also done some training out of Jackson Wink as well. I don't know where he's at currently. I don't know if he's doing any sort of training in Factory X or Elevation. I would imagine he probably is, being as he's based in Colorado Springs, but he's a guy who's at 6-2. AJ Robb has never been finished. He has fought 2 current UFC fighters at this point. He lost to both of them by decision. He fought Batista, and then he fought one other guy that's currently in the UFC, lost to him by decision. So you're talking about a really tough freaking guy that I would imagine is going to try to look to take this fight down to the ground almost immediately. So we'll end up seeing what happens, but I'm telling you guys, like, I would not bet this fight. I do think Thompson's the right pick for this one, but despite the odds being what they are, I'm the least confident about picking this fight. This fight really could go either way. I mean, this is a dog or pass one to me. You either pick AJ Robb at plus 230. I think that's a great freaking deal at those odds, given his wrestling chops, his grappling background. Plus 230, if I'm a betting guy, I don't know if I could walk away from that, but I do think that Thompson's the right pick, so we'll see. And you will notice, yes, that's very true. Not only is he very tall for this weight class, but you're going to notice a very big size discrepancy between these two. And we saw that at weigh-ins. We saw just how small Robb looked compared to Thompson. But look for Thompson to try to take this fight to the ground almost immediately. If you were just joining us in the stream, Thompson has entered the cage. Robb is going to be entering the cage. He's doing so now, and this fight will be commencing shortly.
So now I'm ahead of you.
Do I need to refresh?
Because on my end, they're touching gloves right now.
Okay, I caught up. I refreshed.
UFC Fight Pass.
All right, so there is going to be no touch of gloves, according to Thompson's body language. Here we go.
Yeah, they dabbed it at the intro.
Oh, then you're good. You don't. Then why do it again? You don't need to. Thompson did predict he was going to get a knockout victory at this fight. And keep in mind, AJ Robb's never been knocked out before. But if you looked at Isaac Thompson's prior interviews, he did seem pretty confident that this is how this fight was going to go. He was going to figure out a way to knock out AJ Robb, which was a bold statement to make. We'll see if that comes to fruition or not. But you can see right away that he's a very gifted fighter. I mean, you could just tell right away. Like he knows a thing or two about mixed martial arts for sure. You could tell he's been in a MMA gym most of his life. I think he's only like 21 or 22 years old, so he's very young. What was that? Did he like soccer kick him when he was like down on the ground?
I thought he did.
Or did like he think about it and pulled that kick back, and that's what happened?
I swore that. I thought he as soon as he landed, he hit him in the face, and no one cared.
So this is exactly what AJ Robb needs to do. He needs to close the distance and make this an ugly fight, in my opinion. And if I'm Thompson, I'm framing off and going right back in the center how he's doing. I'm not falling for this. Yeah, I thought so too. I thought so too. We both thought that. I mean, I'm right there with you. It looked like he thought about it and pulled it back, and then he ended up getting taken down. I would be careful about throwing kicks, though, against a guy like this. I tell you what, Robb is a freaking dog, though. He just keeps coming forward. And, I mean, he's going to have to take some punishment to get inside. And he seems to be not shying away from taking that punishment. But it does make you wonder, like, you know, is this something that is sustainable over a potential 15-minute fight? No, he does not. That is true. But is it just me, guys? I just feel like Thompson's getting like the better of these exchanges, though. Is that just me? Am I biased because I picked Thompson?
No, I lean that way too. I think Robb is still trying to get that timing down now of when he does do that. Not saying it's going to help him, but I think that's why we're also seeing Robb kind of just not just stand there, but not really push forward either. Like he looks like he's trying to time everything, and was going okay, but now he was getting a little pieced up. But
and anytime you see like the smaller guy taking a step back, that's not a good sign. He's not eager, right, to close the distance right now, which seems to me like the volume of those strikes is, I don't know, giving him something to think about. And with how he's standing, Zach, it makes me wonder, like, you know, does Thompson get cute and go for a double leg? Because look how square he's standing. Mm-hmm. And he seems to be running out of gas, too. He seems to be breathing really heavy, Robb.
Well, you figure Robb has to put in 2 to 3 times the effort because he has to close the distance and then put up with any damage he's getting as he's closing.
Yes.
You figure like Thompson worked 5 minutes here, but with all the extra stress, Robb probably worked more like closer to 7 or 8. then it's worth it. Cage time.
So there we go. So now here's an opportunity for him to really try to I think he just needs to posture up an elbow. Yeah, he needs to do something. Too little, too late now.
But I think he got the respect down, though. Now
he did.
Thompson has to realize, like, Thompson needs to realize now if he gets any chance to wrestle now, he can see he has the bigger competitive edge there. So why would Rob want to be on the feet in round 2? If I'm Rob, I want to get right to the ground because even in the scrambles, he was winning.
So what do you guys think? Is that unanimous, the three of us? We have this for Thompson?
Definitely Thompson.
That's how I have it, 10-9.
At the corners, I think Thompson looked a little more confused by the round. I'm not saying he doesn't think he win. He just looks like he doesn't know what the game plan will be yet for this round.
Isaac Thompson?
Yeah, like he looked slightly confused in the corner, where Rob kind of was just getting his breathing back under control because that's where he was losing everything.
He's stuck in the air hard, so that's definitely a concern if you're on that side. So that is exactly what Rob needs to do. He, again, closed the distance, and now he's making the fight ugly. Yep, and that was one of the things that I was thinking about, John, was how does Thompson intelligently use kicks into his game plan against a guy that seemingly wants to put this fight down to the ground. And again, you're seeing it there. He grabbed the leg, but I'm telling you what, like if I'm Thompson, I think the finish is it seems like it's there. It does make
Rob is completely gassed right now, by the way.
It does look like that. It does look like
this Rob wasn't a shot that he wanted to get to the ground. It was a shot that he needed to get to the ground because he's drained.
I think Thompson has an opportunity. Like if you can flatten him out, that's what you do right now and end the fight. I'm not letting Rob up now. I'm going to punish him for that. Is he under or is he on it?
He's still on the chin.
So thus far, I mean, we have Isaac Thompson complete control of this fight. Clear 10-9 in the very first round. And he is in the driver's seat with Rob's back in the center of the cage. So Rob he's on very thin ice right now. And he's going to need to hand fight, and he needs to try to figure out a way to get full guard, reverse position, try to get up, try to do something, because the longer it seems he is going to be in this position, the worse off it's potentially going to be. Now you have Thompson going for a rear naked choke, but he's on Rob's chin is what it looks like. But Rob's hand fighting. He's doing what he needs to do to stay alive. But yes, he is in a body triangle at the moment. which is very much so restricting his mobility. What are we drinking tonight?
I'm now over to the Transport, which is a hazy double IPA.
Nice. Well done.
For YouTube, that's an iced tea.
It is. I had my Stella Artois iced tea. That was decent. R.A.P. Joe Rogan.
Then I had a pumpkin spice apple cider because apparently it's October.
It is. It is. I have moved on to my jam now. That I inadvertently sent you on Instagram. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to.
I'd rather words than anything else.
Yeah. Eventually that it will happen too, and I apologize in advance. Can you spill the beans, Zach? Like, what else do you have planned interview-wise for the rest of the next week or two?
Right now, nothing's scheduled, so I'm starting to look at the cards that are in between. I think that right now it leads up to like APFC, and then leads into the December CFFC card. So trying to find fillers in between those. I know for CFFC, I have Riley Palmer so far. Just wait until we actually get closer to the card. We're like 49 days out, so no point doing anything now because the opponent he's booked against now probably is not the opponent he's fighting in December.
I wonder who I'm doing for CFFC. I don't know yet. I have to think. I'd like to interview one CFFC guy for the AC show. I just have to figure out which one makes sense for me.
Yeah, I know for that one, in addition to Riley, I want to try to get Armando, current Ring of Combat champion, coming over to fight the current CFFC champion. So, good fight between both of them.
There's one name I can't name, or I can't really disclose in the chat, but I told you, not from the East Coast, that may be potentially fighting on the AC card. And if he is fighting on that card, I will definitely look to bring him on. More on that to come, potentially. Anyway, so far, I mean, Thompson's in control of this fight. And he's kind of making me look like an asshole because I said I would stay away from this fight. But despite, aside from some very brief moments, Thompson is seemingly being able to dictate the tempo of this fight. He's been the more effective striker. He's been the more effective grappler. I have Thompson 2 rounds on the bank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Evan in the consensus too. Rob obviously needs a win, a finish. There's no way to get this to the decision at all. I think his biggest issue is he's realizing to get in there to close the distance, he's going to get hit multiple times.
Yeah.
So because he seems to be trying to like time that again too, like figure out his movements, try to figure out when he can break through. Because you figure that height and the height difference, he could get like a 1 or 2 punch knockout on him, but it has to be perfectly up the center. But Thompson he's too alive still to even get close to that. Yeah, John just said too. Like, Thompson continues to catch Rob, and he's trying to rush in too. So it's one of those like, stars. You said organically.
I know I did. That's true. I'm a hypocrite. I think that shit's funny. Every time, I see somebody say that online, I laugh. I can't help it. It's funny.
I told you about MMA Junkie during the one weigh-in show, right?
I'm sorry, say what?
MMA Junkie for the weigh-ins for one of the UFC cards.
Yeah.
They got sick of everyone saying RP Joe Rogan, so they just said it like 4 times at the top. And like people were getting in there and getting really mad because they obviously cover the sport. So them saying it in chat, like,
oh, that shit's funny. I'm sorry, it's funny. So this is what this is Rob's Hail Mary at this point. It's either get this guillotine or you lose the fight.
He's gonna, if his arms don't give out, he's gonna either put him to sleep or get a tap. It's not like Thompson's not gonna slide his head out. It's gonna have to be on Rob gassing.
Yeah, he seems to be okay. If he's trying to get the hand lock in.
He can get the Von Flu right here. He's not because he keeps pushing himself away, but he got out of the hold. That's all that matters. But it was exactly how you said. It was completely, that was the Hail Mary. He had, whatever he had to do in that round, it was to not lose that grip.
That was it. And what is he trying to, he's got a butterfly guard in at this point to try to...
He's not getting up. I mean, his corner can tell him just to stand up, but it's not going to happen.
He's just trying to ride out the rest of this wave. It seems like he's accepted the fact that Thompson is going to likely win this fight. I mean, I have it 30-27. That's how I have it. I mean, yeah, I don't know about anyone else. I think it's a pretty clear 30-27. I mean, I don't know if that submission attempt influences you at all, but this is I just don't really see a world in which you could even give Rob one round. I thought this is a pretty dominant performance by Thompson. I'm gonna have to see if I can try to get this Thompson kid on the show. I'll have to see if I can throw. I mean, talk about a route. I mean, I'm very impressed. AJ Robb, I mean, I'm telling you, like, that's not an easy guy. That's an impressive win to me. That's not a freaking jobber that he just beat. That was very impressive.
And even till the end, he was rocking him on the ground too. It's just the height difference too. And even when you rock him, then he's out of your reach.
Thompson, yeah, very impressive. Very impressive. So if he wins this, thus far, we've run the table. Which sounds a lot more impressive than, I guess, what it really is. But nonetheless, consider 2 of those were DMX picks. I think, there's some dick measuring that's valid. I'm not picking Clown Shoes FC, Zach.
That is a good point, too. John pointed out that the only guy to get rocked was Thompson. So you may get a ref that will kind of lean 29-28 just because, competitive grappling, while it should outweigh just rocking somebody, because basically about the same thing. You're withholding them from advancing, and a rock would do that too. And when you're comparing which was the closest to a finish, I don't think judges are good enough to compare those 2 together. Like, a submission without a full submission attempt can still be damaging. But I think it's going to be 30-27 across all 3. Okay, John. So I guess I don't know if you give him the second or third round, but I guess he gets a round.
What were the scores? Can someone tell me?
29-28, all three.
Okay. I didn't have it that way, but okay. Interesting. So thus far, if you guys are just joining us, welcome. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the chat. Don't be a dick. We put out an LFA 170 preview. If you guys have not checked that out, I guess I can't say go back and check it out. I don't know why you would now, but me and my friend Dylan Nossman, we did a preview and prediction show for the LFA 170 card, and thus far, we've run the table. We are a 3-0. You can look forward to Zach and I doing the same at some point. I don't know which card we'll do that for, but at some point we will do that. We did that for our last LFA card. I want to say we did it informally. Like, we didn't do like an official preview and then live stream, but Zach and I were doing picks as the live stream was going on. I don't remember how well we did. I want to say like we did, I don't know, we got like 3 out of the 5 or 4 out of the 5, something like that. Yeah, we got jobbed with the Landry Ward, and I think I picked a Lafarge, and he got knocked out, so that didn't work. But I think it was the 6-fight main card, and I think we went 4-6, so it was somewhat respectable. But we're definitely redeeming ourselves for this one. In the next fight, the co-main event, we'll have Hayward Charles going up against Mick Tiabek Oralby. Oralby is a minus 2,300 favorite, so unless you are able to, number one, prop bet this or put this on a parlay, there is no reason why you guys should be betting this fight unless you want like a penny. I don't know why you would, but Oralby, very talented, very gifted, from Kyrgyzstan. He has a 10-1-1 record, so lot to like about this one. He goes up against Hayward Charles, who's like 18-16. So read into that what you will, but in any event, you're talking about a very hyped up prospect in Oralby going up against a journeyman fighter in Hayward Charles. This is them trying to get Oralby into the conversation to either A, get a title shot, or B, get him another dub so he can ascend into the UFC conversation. But the plan here is obviously for Oralby to win.
Yeah, I mean, I will give credit to Charles's last fight. He did beat Armin Petrosyan's brother, but that's as good as art is. It's like his best feature is being related to Armin. But the name would pop out to someone who's basing off of just a name-wise, though. And then, obviously, this Kazakhstan also trains with the other guy whose name I wouldn't say, the Ulu guy.
Yeah, so we were wondering that. That was something that we asked, and we weren't sure if Oralby and Ulu trained together or not. I assumed they would.
People should wear hats to the ring more often.
Yeah, I like that hat. As a bald man, I wear hats.
Like,
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
No, I do not believe so. I have a question. If you go into the cage listening to Drowning Pool Bodies, are you a douchebag? It's a poll. And if you do you have to have a barbed wire tattoo to do that?
I think you
Or
need a barbed wire tattoo just to even use bodies.
if you don't have a barbed wire tattoo, can you get away with it by wearing a dethroned shirt?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just wondering. I'm just trying to figure out what the rules are. I really don't like that song, and I really don't like Many Men by 50 Cent. That song fucking pisses me off. Don't ever walk out to that song. If you're a fighter, and there's one I love that walks out to that song, and I'm like, God damn it, don't play that bullshit. And he does, and God damn it, it angers me. It really does. I don't have it in my heart to like tell him, but it fucking does.
No tat, you have to walk out the Nickelback.
I don't know. Does Markle have tats? I don't know if Markle has tats or not, but he's a huge Nickelback fan, actually. Like legitimately, he really likes them.
There's a few people who really do. I didn't know they existed.
Yeah, well, Markle's one of them. Sorry for people who aren't in the northeastern part of the country. I'm talking about Billy Markle, bantamweight contender. Relatively new into his pro career, but in any event, he's a big Nickelback fan. Like, loves the back, and he gets angry if you diss the back. He gets really mad. And I was like, "Are you joking? Is that part of your shtick or joke?" And no, he's dead serious.
No, it's like I was talking to someone, and they swore there was more than 2 songs from Nickelback, and I was like, "No, they're not. They're all the same." And then he starts singing like lyrics of different songs, and I realized they have like 12 songs. Never knew that. I thought it was just the 2 songs, and they just played it like different times.
So, did you know that Corey Taylor from Slipknot said that he wanted to kill the guy from Nickelback? I don't know if you knew that. Like, I don't know the name of the lead singer for Nickelback. It's like Chad something. You'd have to Google it.
No, it's like Chad Krogan or whatever. He married Avril Lavigne for a couple years.
Okay, so Corey Taylor said he wanted to slit his throat, or like he wanted to like kill him. And the reason why is because they were both on Roadrunner Records. So Roadrunner Records, if you flash back to the early 2000s, that was like a brand new, like kind of trendy record label that a lot of like hard rock bands and a lot of metal bands were on. And like Nickelback was like the pussiest band that was on the label. And Corey Taylor took umbrage to that and said he wanted to kill him. And I thought it was funny. Roadrunner Records, it was fucking great. Like, Zach, you were probably like, an embryo in your mom at this point. But I will tell you, like, they put out a fucking fantastic album. Roadrunner Records, it was like a collab. And they had all these different bands that would like come together and put out like metal songs and shit. And they had like team captains and stuff. And like a team captain would like pick a guitar player, a bass player, and a drummer from other different metal bands, and they would all write a song together. And Roadrunner Records put out a compilation for all this shit. Man, those are the days. This is probably like 2003, 2004. So I just fucking aged myself, but that's okay. John, you're old, so you know.
So I thought the picture was like an old picture, but like Hayward Charles does look like he just came out of like the garbage bin.
I was wondering who was going to say it. I didn't want to be the guy.
Like when you sent me like the actual like fight card, like that's like before he gets braided or something for the fight. And this dude just woke up, put some Vaseline on his face, and walked out. Like,
it does make you wonder where they found him. But in any event, ladies and gentlemen, we were on the co-main event of the evening. And if the fight odds have any sway in how this fight will go, Mikdebek Oralbai is a minus 2,300 favorite. And of course, the man with the plan, Dylan Nostman, said this is the This is the man that's going to win this fight, according to him, and it's hard to disagree, judging by how the fight odds had this fight. There's a lot to talk about, and I would just feel really bad in doing so. This is just like a layup. It really is. I mean, golly.
Did you ever
like
see
Luis Pena might have to forfeit Violent Bob Ross, because I'm telling you, I'm getting those vibes right now.
Is this guy extra violent?
Yeah, I just said that. Yes, he is extra violent. Like, he wouldn't know the fucking fight odds. That's for damn sure.
Did you see the guy who Bo Nickel made his pro debut against?
No.
Like, he looks just like this dude. Besides, like, the other guy's like.
Was it like on Icon?
Yeah. Like, this dude looked just like this fucking wayward guy, but like white poverty gas station work attendant is like what the person looked like with his hair though.
Carry
like,
on
real
my
skinny,
Hayward son.
And yeah, Bo knocked him out in 2 punches.
Like with hair, like, oh, and there's a punch, and Hayward's down the ground. Like, Hayward, I have to say, he looks like a guy that I would create on UFC 5. He really does. Like, but with, like, shitty tattoos and stuff. Who would you like to see Bo Nickel fight next? That's a legitimate question. Since we're talking about Bo Nickel, who would you like to see him fight next? There are a lot of different guys that you could potentially put him up against.
Yeah, I mean, the cop-out one would be him versus Petrosky, but I think that kind of got pushed back even more now because of Petrosky last.
No, you can't put him up against Hamzat. It's too soon.
No. I said about. I didn't see his one. Yeah, not Hamzat, not yet. See how Bo is when he gets punched first before you even consider the Hamzat fight.
Am I a dickhead for saying Edmund Shabazian?
No.
Is that a legitimate matchup, or is that like kind of like, too low for him? I don't know. That's a legitimate question, considering he just fought Jamie Pickett, which is like bottom of the barrel, quite honestly.
Yeah, and like it's hard because like I feel like
what about
GM3?
RoboCop? What about RoboCop? Is that too high for him?
I think you want to break. I mean, ranking wise, I think it's up there. It's not too far off, but you're risking. You need to book Bo. You need to book Bo in fights that aren't obvious that he'll win. So
what about the blind dude that just fought?
Share a bullet.
Yeah.
That one you're just worrying about. Do you kill the hype you have now for Share a Bullet because people are like, he looks weird.
Like Sideshow Bob is trying to go for a heel hook here. I don't know what that looks like in terms of no, it seems like he's losing it. No, Bullet is middleweight.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those like you'd want to give him a wrestle heavy opponent. That way, obviously, he's going to wrestle, and if you at least get a wrestler against him, maybe there's some defense there.
What about Kelvin Gastelum?
After he loses to Sean? That makes sense.
Who does Kelvin Gastelum fight next?
Sean Brady.
He's not going to win that fight.
Like, it's Ali just signing his fighter to the first fight that gets offered to him. Like, Sean should win that fight.
I don't see. Yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't. win that fight. If Kelvin loses that fight, are you good with that? I'm good with it right now, actually.
It would make sense, yeah. And I think that charms the box. Like, he's a wrestler who can still throw.
I
May
like
not be
it.
on the up and up anymore.
No,
So
he's
it's not like
definitely not.
you're not going to hurt him by adding a loss.
What do you guys think about Marty Fake Newsman fighting Robert Whittaker at 185?
I like that.
I like it too.
I'd even go DDP. I think DDP deserves the title shot, but
yeah. So I have to poo-poo that just because of that reason. I do think DDP deserves a title shot, but we know he's not getting it, and Hamzat's getting it. So you have to do something with him, right?
And I think both would be up for it because Kamaru wants to still be up there and kind of prove that he can beat a high level.
Mm-hmm.
And then if DDP wins, you can't deny him.
I don't think you can deny him right now.
No. Like, he didn't just beat
Whittaker.
He knocked it out.
Agreed. DDP deserves a shot. So do you guys think... So I asked Dylan Nossman this question, and unfortunately he became too cool for school and he left. But do you think that DDP is getting fucked with Hamzat getting the chance to fight Sean Strickland? Because I think he is. I think DDP is getting fucked. And you can say whatever it is. You can say that you don't like DDP for, the whole style bender build up or however that went. Like that, all that shit aside, like he beat Robert Whittaker, who's one of the best middleweights on the fucking planet. Like that means something to me.
Yeah. I mean, Izzy finished him once.
Once.
And I think that's the only 2 finishes Rob has on his career.
Yes. I don't know.
Like,
I think he's getting fucked. I want to see. I would like to see DDP versus Strickland. I think that makes way more sense to me than Hamzat. I just can't envision a world in which Hamzat gets a title shot after beating a guy that, at least at this point, has never fought at middleweight before. Hamzat loses to Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
100%. Yes, that's factual. That is accurate.
Like, Hamzat would have to do a Mike or an Alex Pierre. Get him.
He would either have to do that, or
seconds.
or he'd have to submit him. Like, you could even say that I didn't see it this way. I mean, I thought it was kind of bullshit, but a lot of people thought the fight against Marty Fake Newsman was a draw. I didn't see it that way, but a lot of people did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jesus. Sideshow Bob just got knocked out. That fight was a lot more competitive for a minus 2,300 fight, though. All right, guys. So we are on the main event soon, but I did have another suggestion. I would like to see Terrence McKinney fight Trevor Peek. I don't hate fight. I think that fight makes a ton of sense, and I think Trevor Peek deserves a name after what he just did in Abu Dhabi. I don't know what's up with Father Terrence, though, at the moment.
I'm also I'm going to try something real fast just to see if it works.
Knockout! I like it.
Knockout! Oh, I had it on loop. Okay, so it works.
You can expect to see. Oh my God! It was the uppercut that fucking roamed him.
Yeah, McKinney Peak would be good. Because I don't think
either
one of them.
That was epic. Right under the guard. Bam.
Not violent enough, Bob Ross.
No, it was not. That was fucking awesome. He's snoring.
So you have to figure you made this fight because obviously you knew the Asian dude was right on the edge of like getting a call up,
Right.
and not saying Hayward Charles just got CTE for $1,000 at best, but
Well,
like that's a performance that when you like go to push him to Sean Shelby or Mick Maynard or Sweepstakes Joe Reeves, like it shows cases like a finish, and that's going to help sell him. So I think next time you see him, he's in the UFC or Contender Series.
so this tells me everything I need to know with Uriah Faber there. Obviously, that means he trains at an Alpha Male. So presumably that means the other dude probably also trains at Alpha Male. Presumably. I mean, we can connect the dots here and kind of figure that one out. I do like that hat, though. That's pretty fucking
That's
cool.
pretty dope.
I want a hat like that. So we are going on up to the main event. Harris Talundzic versus Daniel Frunza. What do you think about this fight, Zach?
I mean, I think the only concern is Harris's time away. From what I've seen or heard from like stories and stuff that are posted from his teammates, again, you're not going to go in your story and share that your teammate is like hurt or injured or not where he should be. But they also need very like amped for this fight. It's not a setup fight. The opponent is winnable. But everyone I've heard or seen from the Colorado area are obviously high on their guy. A whole other issue too is the love all because of local, or because they actually think he's going to win this fight. But no, I think Harris is another one. It's right there on the edge. So they were going to come back with a big win. So yeah, I think Daniel's not a full sacrificial lamb, but he's not here to win. And the odds are kind of reflecting that as well.
Well, I will say, looking at this one, Dylan didn't really pick a guy. He just simply said that he doesn't like this fight to go the distance and to bet for a finish. And he had mentioned the smart play is either Frunza by knockout or Talundzic by submission, but he does not see this one going the full 15 minutes, and you can understand why. There are a few things about this fight that kind of like stand out, and you've already alluded to it, Zach. So Harris Talundzic, he's been out of the game for about a year. And then he goes up against Daniel Frunza, who is a southpaw that, plus 170 dog. But, I mean, he's got it done, and he would seem to have the striking advantage going into this one. And I retract what I previously said. Frunza is an orthodox fighter, and it's Harris Talundzic who is the southpaw. So keep that in mind. The talking point here is Harris Talundzic has gone up against southpaw fighters. His last two or three opponents have all been southpaws. He goes up against an orthodox fighter for the very first time. Does that impact this line at all, or the outcome of this fight? That will remain to be seen, but it would seem to be that Frunza would have the advantage off of the feet. Talundzic would have the advantage in the wrestling and in the grappling as well. Two of Frunza's losses have come by rear naked choke, and that is a submission that Harris Talundzic likes quite a bit. So you have to think to yourself that Harris Talundzic and company, they're taking this fight because they see that weakness there. They see that wrestling advantage, and I'm imagining that to be a big part of the game plan.
This guy has a very long post-fight promo, but he is basically calling for the UFC to call him.
And with a hat like that, how can you say no?
Yeah, you have to.
You have to, right? I mean, the record is there. I mean, what, 11-1 now? I mean, I'd say you give it to him.
You throw him in there and you put him on one of the
Apex shows.
Asia cards.
Or that.
Apex, yeah.
Yeah, you make him fight in Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia or whatever. Yeah, I'm with that. Or the Apex, I'm good with too. Whatever.
But so with that too, so if Kamzat does keep the title shot, where do they fight at?
Well, so that lies the next big pile of shit that we need to talk about. How fucked up is that for Sean Strickland to have to go abroad to defend his title? Very fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger question though is like, can Hamzat even enter the US right now? And I don't have the answer to that. I don't know if he can or not. So that's like a potentially fucked up situation, and you would seemingly have to fight in like the UK. Really, you'd have to pick like a neutral place, and the most neutral place is either going to be like France or like the UK or something like that. Like you can't fight that fight in the Middle East, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I mean, a whole other thing too is it's a title fight, so you're not going to put that fight on a fight night. So that just limits a lot of your locations in the UK also, in surrounding areas, because like.
Yeah, you have to plan it out because they do like what, one pay-per-view a year in the UK?
Yep. And you would want to do that, obviously, your bigger one with
Aspinall,
your British
presumably.
champion and all that.
You know, yeah, presumably
Germany.
Aspinall.
Yeah. Or even Leon if he retains. Like,
do you think he does? A lot of people do. You think he does?
Yeah.
I don't.
I just think. I don't think Kobe would want to do the nonstop wrestling.
I think Marty Fake Newsman was beating his ass and he got caught.
Yeah.
And Colby Covington is going to really look to do the exact same thing, I would think. I don't think he's gonna I think he's gonna look at that first fight that Usman did and be like, that's my game plan. Like, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Like, blitz, pressure. I think Usman gave him too much respect in the second fight, quite honestly. Mm-hmm. And it was a fair result, but I think that head kick knockout messed with his psyche a little bit going into that fight. Rightfully so, understandably so.
I mean, especially when you're not only worrying about the head kick, you also know how much you were controlling that fight until the head kick.
Exactly. So, Zach, bringing it back to LFA 170 in the main event, you know, we talked about a few different things. Frunza being the guy with seemingly the striking advantage going up against Harris Talundzic, who seemingly has the grappling and wrestling advantage. Who do you got in this fight and why?
Like how all these little clips are all head kicks minus one uppercut.
Who do you got in the fight?
Yeah, main event, definitely Harris.
Harris Talundzic?
Yeah, I think
that's who. That's who I have.
Yeah, and definitely a finish by him too. It's not going the full length.
Talundzic by sub.
I would even say under 1.5.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. So, in order for us to run the table, quite simply, this fight just needs to end by finish. But I am going to take the liberty of picking for Dylan because he didn't pick one of these fighters. Although I will say, it seemed that he was leaning Frunza. It did seem to me that that was the guy that he liked for this one. He liked Frunza to figure out a way to hurt Harris Talundzic. And it did seem to me that he had a lot of major concerns about this being an orthodox fighter. being his first fight back. But I'm going to go ahead and overrule him and say Talundzic's the right pick for this one. I think the wrestling advantage is too great. I think Talundzic rear naked choke. I say second round. We'll see. I do think if you like Frunza, though, you have to go for that knockout. Like, you have to go Frunza finish. This fight does not go the distance. I would prop bet Frunza by KO if you like him for this one. But he would seemingly have the striking advantage.
I don't understand the whole buffering before a fight. Like, I don't care that it took him 2 months to get used to the elevation when he first moved here. I don't care about anything Gilbert's saying. Like, they could easily be doing walkouts right now.
They could, and Gil needs to get a button-up that fits him because it does not fit him. And I notice things like this. That Windsor knot's covering up the fact that you don't have your geek button buttoned. But if you don't want to button it, just don't go a tie and do like Homeboy over there on the left. Just leave it unbuttoned and just, I don't know. It's a pet peeve. Am I the dick once again? Or am I pointing out the obvious?
I mean, I don't watch them when they talk. So, like, I'm just now noticing everything you're saying about his outfit, and yes.
He's going for that Windsor knot to cover up the fact that the geek button isn't buttoned all the way. He doesn't want it buttoned, so he's going for that wide knot, but it's not tied correct. Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to tie with the Windsor, you got to fucking do the geek button, or else it looks like shit, and it looks like shit right now. Like, you're talking to a guy that, like, had to wear a suit into the office for a fucking decade, and I notice shit like that. I am a fan of the Windsor, though. I like the Windsor. It's a freaking slick knot. It really is. Do you know how to tie a Windsor, Zach? You don't, do you? Yeah, you don't. You wouldn't. You're not sophisticated enough for a Windsor knot, but I will tell you.
I only recently put it together that you were talking about the way the tie's knotted.
Yeah, it's a Windsor knot, baby. Come on. Jesus.
I wear this to work.
Sometimes. I can tell. Jesus. Mom's basement t-shirt over a Windsor knot. Come on.
Alan Juban wouldn't be caught dead with a shirt and tie that bad.
I mean, golly. Come on. We can do better than that. We can
Which also, Alan Juban also retired from the UFC how many years ago?
I'm just saying.
Like 3-4 years ago he retired.
How come Anthony Smith doesn't get more regional gigs? He's good on the mic. I like Anthony Smith on the mic. He's good.
Yeah, 3-4 years retired. Alan Juban also in UFC 5.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I haven't played UFC 5, and I really have no interest.
Not like half the top 15, but he made it.
Are they playing in a hockey arena? I assume they are.
LFA?
Yeah, are they fighting in a hockey arena? It looks like...
I don't think so.
I don't know.
And it might be one of the regional league ones, so it's not like the official full size.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, the Colorado, Woodchucks or some shit like that. We shall see. I think Frunza for this one, he needs to maintain the distance. He's going to have to figure out a way to deal with Talundzic's pressure. For him, it's really like keep it on the feet. Really try to frame off whenever you can, but it's going to be predominantly about takedown defense. If his takedown defense can hold up over the course of this 15 minutes, he should have a somewhat decent chance at finishing this fight. It's not going to be a huge upset if he wins this fight. Omelie Gonzalez, which is a name that's familiar for our CFFC fans, he really put it to Harris Talundzic not that long ago and hurt him badly in his last fight out. So something to think about. Like Omelie Gonzalez isn't really somebody that I would consider like in that upper echelon of welterweight contenders. And he's going up against somebody like Harris Talundzic, which is a guy that LFA wants to win this fight, presumably because of the Factory X tie-in. So it would kind of be mildly off script if Frunza wins this fight, but that's something to think about.
Hey, Basil. So his corner is I'm surprised I can only name one of the corner. I would have thought at least one of the other ones would have stood out.
Yeah, first one out. All right, so for this one, I think for if you're on the side of Harris Talundzic, I think you really need to kind of like go back to like you need to ride the horse that got you here, and first and foremost, that means pressure. He's going to need to be the guy that takes the first foot forward. He really needs to press his opponent, close the distance right away, and not be afraid to like engage in the wrestling. I think he has a distinct advantage over his opponent in the wrestling department, and that's really what he needs to key up on. And I fully expect that. I fully expect that to be the game plan. I'm not expecting him to get cute. I'm not expecting him to fight this fight on the feet for a prolonged amount of time, because that is how he loses this fight, by keeping it on the feet. I don't think his striking is anywhere in the same stratosphere as Daniel Frunza. All right, so if you guys are just now joining us, we are on to the main event of the evening. Thus far, we've run the table on all of our predictions. And for the main event, both Zach and I have Harris Talundzic by submission. We expect him to get a finish in this fight, so we'll see if we're right or not. But so far, no real surprises. I think the biggest surprise that people will say is probably the Machado fight. It was this the third fight of the evening. Machado was basically getting his ass whipped, and in the third round, he's able to end the fight by rear naked choke. That was very impressive. Shout out to Dylan Knotzman for picking that fight correctly. Not a lot of people did, and if you did follow Dylan Knotzman's advice and were able to pick up Machado, you got him at a plus 185. Something to think about. For this fight, Harris Talundzic is the minus 225 favorite by my last count, and Frunza is the plus 170 dog. I mean, from simply a gambling perspective, Frunza at plus 170 is pretty tempting. So I'll just throw that out there. But in terms of not who I necessarily would gamble on, but who I think is going to win, I think Talundzic's the right pick here. And Mr. Shady Ref is back. For Talundzic, this is his first fight back in roughly a year. So we'll see if that has an impact on this fight at all. If the ring rust is a thing for him or not, we'll see. And here we go. Right away, we see Frunza taking center control of the cage. And for Talundzic, the grappler, you would expect him to try to counter that at some point. But you see right here, an orthodox versus a lefty fighter. And we'll see how that has any sort of impact into this fight. Talundzic, of course, has fought recently a spate of fellow Southpaws. So far for Frunza, though, what do you think, Zach? I mean, here we are a couple minutes into the fight. I mean, so far so good from Frunza's side, in my opinion.
He's been able to showcase what he needs to do to win this. Not allow enough space so that he can shoot, apply just enough pressure to keep him on his feet. Backpedal is even better. But I think also on Harris's side, he's still just timing everything. He's not even trying to really put effort in yet. So,
by taking a step back, is Talundzic trying to bait him to close the distance?
I think he's not only just trying to bait him to close the distance, but also see what makes him close it and what makes him step back, so he knows what to feint, what not to feint. Like, I'm not saying Harris is throwing this round away on purpose, but it's definitely a photo taking round.
Yeah.
He has no care to finish it this round.
Looks like he was able to land a nice little jab against Frunza. But so far, thus far, roughly halfway into the first round, definitely seems like a feeling out process. Just judging by like first glances, it would be tough to not give it to Frunza. So Talundzic, to get this first round, he's really going to need to turn it up. And it looks like that's exactly what he seems to be doing. He seems to be really trying to turn up the volume on Frunza midway through the first round. Nice jab right to the freaking face that snapped freaking Frunza's head right back.
Harris going to counter one of the kicks. He's definitely going to. It's been one of those really bad checks where it's going to shut down Frunza's leg once it's checked too. And that might lead to the takedown.
Nice head kick too, even though that was blocked. You like to see it. Are you guys surprised that Harris hasn't gone for that single quite yet? I'm mildly surprised. Because he seems to be playing Frunza's game right now. Keeping it on the feet, not really looking to grapple or wrestle at all. That's mildly surprising to me.
He's definitely trying to time a counter here.
Seems that way.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys score that one?
I'd lean Daniel on that one, Frunza. Just because optics-wise, he controlled the cage better. I guess outstruck him 23-12. But I think just even optics-wise, it just felt like he did more.
That one could go either way to me. I look at that one and I kind of, I don't know. I think I'm leaning Harris, actually. Surprisingly. I actually think I lean Harris for the first round. I thought that his punches landed. Yes, he may have gotten outstruck. I mean, the numbers are what they are, but the judges don't see that. I thought that Harris landed the cleaner exchanges in that one, despite being in the not dominant part of the octagon there. I mean, he was on his back foot, yes, but he seemed to be countering very well, and he landed very clean on his opponent. I kind of leaned Harris in the first. I will say I do think he needs to shoot for that single, though, with that leg sticking out there like that. I don't think he can fight the round 2 the exact same way he fought round 1. Nice body kick. Seemingly, Talundzic is going to have to go for a takedown at some point.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't even at least hinted at one.
He hasn't even hinted at a level change. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at what point is that going to be part of the game plan? Because Frunza will do this all day long. And if you're Frunza, you got to be kind of shocked that Talundzic hasn't even tried. There we go.
Yeah.
That's what he needed. And because he could not afford to be another round without doing this. The first round to me was close. You guys seem to give Daniel the first, and I don't hate that. I'm just saying, like, Harris to me, I think he squeaked it out, but you guys are probably in the right, and I'm probably wrong. But I'm just saying that was my initial reaction. I thought Harris squeaked out round 1, but Harris was losing this round.
Yeah.
Clearly, in my opinion. This one was a lot easier for me. I still don't know if he's winning this round yet. It's still kind of up in the air for me, but he needs to do. I don't love the fact that Frunza was able to get up as quick as he did. I don't really like that for Harris's side.
Let's now let's get into one of the situations where they seem kind of stalemated where they're at against the cage too. So like I would not be against them separating because all he's getting is like the toe stomps, which do fuck your feet up and do hurt, but it's not enough to me that you're actually controlling it.
I think in the main event, Longbeard's going to let him fight, though. I could be wrong, but you can understand him kind of clap. You can still you can understand him clapping and being a dick in the very first fight. But for the main event, you kind of have to let him fight, in my opinion. It's not to say he will. I mean, he's Hawkeyeing it pretty close. But yeah, it does. He gets paid the same. It does seem to be it seems like he's getting ready to break him up. He's inching closer and closer. And there's really, frankly, there's really not a lot you could say about hating a breakup at this point. It looks like he's inches away from making that happen. Yep, breaking him up. I don't hate that. That's fair. I didn't like his breakups in the Clark fight. Oh, it looks like he got freaking duped there. Okay, so going into the third, I have this one apiece. You guys probably have it 2-0. I'm assuming I have it one apiece.
Both rounds are extremely close.
I mean, I have Daniel for the clear winner of round 2 to me. Even despite the takedown, that wasn't enough for me. I have Daniel. I thought Daniel was able to turn it up. As you can see right there, snapped his neck right freaking back. I mean, for me, I think it's one apiece going into the third. What do you have it at?
I'm going to have Harris the first round. He did get the takedown. I would probably lean 2-0 Harris.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought you were against me. I thought you had the first for Frunza.
Nah.
Okay, so John has it 2-up Frunza. I understand why you'd say that too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the harder hit.
So it seems like Zach is 2-0 for Talundzic. John is the other way for Frunza, and I'm in the middle at one apiece.
Yeah, so we're gonna get really, really fucked up scorecards. Because does LFA do 5-round main events or just 3?
3.
So, yeah. No matter how this round ends, we're all gonna have a really fucked up scorecard.
Yeah. Harris is fucked if he doesn't get a takedown in this round. Because it seems like the striking is getting away from him. Nice jab.
And I wonder if his corner told him basically that there's no guarantee he's up, tied, or down. That's why he also doesn't want to go to the ground because, while he'll look better on the ground, he might need a finish here, depending on what side the judge is going. That he kind of feels he has to stand and bang and hopefully get a knockout versus hit where he is better off at.
That's what he needed right now.
And I say that, and he does this.
I think it's smart, though. I think he needs to do this. Oh, that's interesting. He's got a nice little cut on his heel, assuming that happened against the edge of the fence there. If you're Harris, you want that back desperately. That's what you
Mhm.
want. And you want that rear naked. That's what you want. I don't love. You need to backpack him right away in this position. He wants that double.
Mhm.
Ref yelling him about hitting the spine when he's like clearly not.
You got 2 minutes left.
It's a tough fight. It's a tough fight to score. So I'm gonna not say anything yet. It would seem premature. He wants that high crotch single. I don't think he's gonna get it. Talundzic, this favors him though, in my opinion. Like in a close fight, I mean, this is what you need to do to keep it interesting. But you really would love to get a takedown at this point to try to make it.
Because I mean, the cage control looks good if you know you're up at least, or that you have at least one round in your favor.
And we don't know that.
Yeah, because I mean, just the three of us talking, we've all three have different scores.
Yeah.
So, like, if you could guarantee you got one of those 2 rounds, and not just hope that you might have one of those 2, sure, stay in this position for the next 90 or I guess minute now. Because even if he gets this down, he's not going to have really enough time to do anything severe. As John just said too, time's running out. He has to do something with it. Like at this point, like it went from being in his favor to kind of just stalling at this point now too.
And I don't hate that breakup. I can't bust the ref's balls for that. Because he gave him all the time to get that takedown. He was more, so I can't hate that.
I mean, 20 seconds, like, shoot, at least try to get him to the ground. Instead, you're going to keep backing yourself up into the cage, which just looks like you're backing away and cowering. Even with Basil yelling how beautiful that punch was.
Uh-oh.
Nope, never mind. Yeah, he fell face first. You can call that.
Yep. No complaints there. No complaints there. He caught him.
Yeah.
Hey, so, that... depending on how you want to take my interpretation, Dylan was the guy that was on Frunza, and I was the one that was on Harris Talundzic. So we either ran the table if you like Dylan, and if you like me, then we got all of them right with the main event. In any event, that was really slick, and props to Frunza for that one. And I'm happy that didn't go to the judges, truly, because you guys saw that 3 different people had that fight scored very differently. For me, I still think I would have given it to Frunza. I think I would have given him yes, Harris had him pinned against the fence, but he really wasn't doing shit with it. So for me, if I had to score that fight based off of how I saw that third going, I think I would still have scored it for Frunza. Seemed like John would have scored it for Frunza too. What did you think? Would you have given the third to Frunza as well?
I would have given the third to Frunza.
Okay, but you still would have given the fight to Talundzic.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was more so, yes, he had the full control, but it kind of when they separated, where we all seemed kind of in agreement, it was the right separation.
Yeah.
At that point, he kind of lost all that control time because it just proved you did nothing with it.
Yeah. Yeah, For sure. So yeah, I mean, I had it was that elbow that freaking rocked his ass. Yep.
And honestly, it should have been called there.
Yes. Yeah. He was a little late on the stoppage. That's fair.
Like, I get the whole, like, yeah, when you face plant, you instantly usually bounce up unless you're like non-violent Bob Ross. Like, you usually wake back up and turn right away. And stretching to give the referee a benefit there, like, that's what would have happened. Like, he was looking to go in there and call it off, but when he looked over again, he was awake and on his back, getting ready to pivot, and then he then takes 3 to 4 punches that he didn't need to take.
Yeah, any event. What a card. If you guys joined us at all at any point during our LFA 170 live stream, thank you. At some point in November, Zach and I will be back. We don't know exactly when, but we will announce that in all due time. We are going to have a lot of different regional MMA prospects on our respective podcasts. Zach's already mentioned a couple of different fighters that will be on his, and you can expect a few from mine as well. I'll be talking to Miles Banks. He'll be making his professional debut at Fury FC Challenger Series. I'm looking forward to talking to him. I also have Kuba Kashuba. He'll be fighting in the PFL Europe lightweight finals. So that'll be another one that I will be doing. And, the man with the plan, Zach, is always up to stuff. You can expect him to have some more CFFC contenders, amongst other things, up his sleeve. So if you guys have tuned in, if you guys have enjoyed our content, please give it a thumbs up. Please share this with your community. We really appreciate it. And thanks for hanging out with us.